Hi guys, this is Hirosaki. This story is all about what if Naruto had died in the final battle against Madara. Fate had seen it fit to give him second chance to do things over. With memories of his past life, people will be surprised by what the new Naruto can do. Find out here. Welcome aboard. Chapter 1 Prologue. They say that the last moments of a person's life are the longest. Until now, Naruto had always thought that notion had been ridiculous. He had always believed someone's final moments were quick and short. If he could, he'd laugh at how wrong he was. Time seemed to slow down and freeze. All he could feel was the wetness that soaked his chest. Naruto took this time to ponder this strange feeling. He had wondered what it would feel like when he died. He imagined pain, sadness, but also relief at the thought he would achieve everlasting peace. To tell the truth, he felt the exact opposite. He didn't feel any pain. There was no sadness or relief. Naruto felt regret. His life played like a slideshow in his head, from his harsh childhood, to getting his headband, to meeting his team, to the mission in Wave, Sasuke's departure, training with Jiraiya, fighting with the Akatsuki, everything. Pathetic. None of those things mattered at this point. Nothing did. Naruto regretted everything. There had been so much he missed, so much time wasted. There was only one thing that mattered now, and the harsh truth was the one thing he truly regretted. It wasn't supposed to be like this. Things were supposed to turn out differently. But no, destiny had seen it fit to stomp on his efforts to save the world and keep him from fulfilling the numerous promises he had made and, in his dying state, just broken. Naruto could see the blackness crawling around the borders of his vision. He dropped to his knees. Damn it, this was not meant to happen. This can't happen. Yet it had happened. He had failed to stop Madara. He couldn't protect his friends, many of whom had been killed before and during the battle against the ancient Uchiha. He had failed in keeping Madara from acquiring the Kyuubi. He didn't fulfill his promise to Sakura either. He didn't get through to Sasuke, his former best friend's sword sticking out of his chest and through his back. Behind him he could hear Madara's cackling voice, though he couldn't see his unmasked face. The new Jinchuriki of the ten-tailed demon beast laughed as he projected his Sharingan onto the moon. Sasuke stood in front of him with a triumphant smirk, looking up as the moon was starting to be consumed by Madara's eye. The Kyuubi's roar sounded miles away, the demon now nothing more than a puppet for Madara, wreaking havoc on the untied army of the ninja villages. The other demon beasts roared with the fox, slaughtering anyone who was fighting against Madara. Scarlet drops fell, gathered, and pooled beneath him. Naruto's mouth was salty with his own blood. His vision got darker. Some prophecy child he turned out to be. He had let everyone down. He had tried his hardest and failed when he had promised to succeed. Naruto almost smiled as he remembered his friends. He remembered Kakashi's broken body after fighting Madara. He remembered watching the light fade from Sakura's eyes when Sasuke punched a hole through her chest with the Chidori. He remembered witnessing Neji, Shikamaru, Kiba and Lee's final moments as they held back the Akatsuki who had somehow been brought back from the dead. He remembered Hinata giving her life to protect him from an undead pain a second time. He remembered each of his loved ones' fall. Naruto wondered if he'd catch a glimpse of them on his way to hell. There was no way he'd be forgiven for the amount of lives he had failed to protect. His knees failed him as the longest moments of his life bled away. He closed his eyes, waiting for his body to settle itself in the pool of his blood and his soul to taken by the Shinigami. The last thing he heard was Madara's maniacal, triumphant laughter. The last thing he saw was Sasuke pulling his sword out of his chest. Naruto closed his eyes and felt the last of his strength leave his body. He slowly fell until he hit the ground, succumbing to the black abyss. His final words, "It's over." Naruto whispered, not believing the words he knew were true. It was all over. But then someone answered. Not yet, Naruto. Naruto's eyes fluttered open. He weakly raised his head as he felt someone lift him up. He felt another hand on his. It was soft and warm, its caress gentle and loving. Naruto recognized the person holding him tightly to her chest. Mom! Naruto said softly, his eyes full of surprise and disbelief. Uzumaki Kushina gazed down at her son lovingly as she held him in her arms, a warm, motherly smile gracing her beautiful features. Don't worry, you're not dead. Kushina smiled, puzzling her son. Not yet anyway. Another familiar voice resounded in his ears. Naruto's eyes widened when his father's form presented itself in front of them. Minato Namikaze smiled down at his son, a sympathetic look on his face. I'm sorry for all that's happened to you, Naruto. Past and present. Minato sighed wistfully. Mom, Dad. I failed. Naruto whispered, lowering his head in shame. I'm so sorry. Naruto, you have nothing to be sorry about. Kushina smiled sadly as she hugged her son. Everyone makes mistakes. Mom, this isn't just some mistake. Naruto murmured. I was killed. I couldn't stop Madara. I wasn't the hero everyone thought I was. Son, I know things didn't turn out the way you wanted to, but... Minato stood up. His eyes narrowed, determination flashing in his eyes. Naruto recognized that determination. That's why I'm going to give you a second chance. Naruto's eyes widened. He stared up at his father, confusion and wonder evident in his eyes. What did he mean by that? The boy who had been killed suddenly noticed the Shinigami hovering above them. Its Hanya mask stared down at the Uzumaki family, a bony finger pointing at the Yondaime. Minato. It hissed. Kushina, you know what to do. Minato spoke solemnly to his wife. He smirked up at the death god. This isn't the first time I've tangled with a Shinigami. Yes. Kushina nodded determinedly. She gently placed Naruto's head on her lap, then her hands on his chest. A green glow started to emanate from them, enveloping Naruto in a soft, green light. Minato. Minato. The Shinigami hissed angrily, clearly distressed by what was occurring. Minato drew one of his special kunai from his back pocket. He turned towards his son and wife. Take care, son. Minato smiled proudly at him, despite knowing he had failed. I know you'll do things right this time, Dad. Naruto called out, feeling his strength slowly returning to him. He reached out desperately as his father seemed to get farther and farther away, slowly rising into whatever blackness they were currently in. His mother's presence slowly became fainter and fainter until he felt her gentle hands disappear. Good luck, Naruto. Become the hero everyone wanted you to be. I know you can do it. His parents' voices echoed around him. MOM. Dad. The child of prophecy cried out and watched helplessly as the Shinigami let out a cry of fury and lunged towards his father. That was the last thing Naruto saw before the light blinded him, and then everything turned black. Naruto, look out. Naruto's eyes widened as his vision came back, Iruka's pained expression being the first thing he saw. The man's back had a large shuriken sticking out of it, evidence of Iruka's effort to shield Naruto from it. Behind his teacher he could see Mizuki laughing manically. The demon container also took notice of the familiar weight on his back, surprised that the forbidden art scroll was strapped to his back. Not only that, he was back to being a kid again. Iruka's moving mouth and the words coming from it were slowly becoming more coherent to his ears. Gone were his mother and father, but they were replaced with this familiar scene. He couldn't believe it. Time had reset. He was back at the beginning. The night when everything had started from him. Don't listen to him, Naruto. I never hated you. Iruka cried, tears streaming down his face. Please, don't let Mizuki have the scroll. Just run. I beg you. For now, Naruto ignored his shock at experiencing the same scene twice and his sensei's words, gently pushing his teacher off of him and removing the shuriken from his back. He glared up at Mizuki, dropping the shuriken to the ground. Oh? Giving up, Fox? Mizuki sneered, reaching for the other shuriken on his back. Or are you actually trying to fight back? Both Mizuki and Iruka were shocked when a smirk made its way to Naruto's face. Would you be surprised if I said yes? Naruto smirked, making a familiar hand sign to perform his signature jutsu. He didn't know what had occurred in the netherworld or what became of his parents. He didn't know why he was back in the past or what his parents had done to make this possible. There was one thing he did know though. He had been given a second chance and there was no way in hell he was going to waste it. Chapter 2, Reality and Memory. Naruto kicked the black and blue form of Mizuki a few times to make sure he was really unconscious. He had beaten him harder than last time though, so there was really no need to check. Still, reliving this moment still seemed like a dream to him. Now that I think of it, I didn't really take the time to enjoy this the first time around. Naruto smirked to himself. He'd be lying if he said that he didn't love having the opportunity to beat up the cocky bastard a second time. Naruto. Oh yes. His sensei. The demon container approached his fallen teacher and gingerly helped him off the ground. His sensei's face was one of awe and disbelief. Iruka opened his mouth to speak, but before he got a word out, Naruto felt the need to interrupt. Don't talk now, sensei. Save your strength. Naruto ordered, surprising Iruka at the seriousness and intensity in his voice. I'll get you to a hospital so you can get that wound fixed. Some ANBU guys will probably come by and pick up this pitiful guy later. Iruka nodded dumbly to his student's words. For some reason, he felt as though Naruto had changed, and it wasn't just because he just pulled off a jutsu only a jounin could do when he had failed his test earlier this morning. He couldn't explain it, but somehow it seemed the troublemaker had matured in the few hours after he'd seen him last. His pose was straighter, and his eyes had an even fiercer spark than before. Despite this, he also seemed exhausted and looked like he was carrying a great weight on his shoulders. Iruka was pretty sure it wasn't his weight wasn't responsible for the invisible burden. Maybe it was because of what Mizuki said. It was clear the boy had understood the man's words and it had explained why the villagers treated him the way they did. But surely Naruto didn't think that Iruka hated him for something the demon had done. Naruto and the Kyuubi were two different people, and Naruto shouldn't blame himself for what happened. Iruka opened his mouth to try and reassure the boy. I told you to save it, sensei. Naruto's words made him shut his trap yet again. To his surprise, Naruto was smiling faintly and had a strange light of understanding in his eyes he hadn't noticed before. I've known for a long time that I was the host of the Kyuubi. Naruto confessed, succeeding in shocking Iruka yet again. I came to terms with that long ago. I know the fox and I are two entirely different persons, and his actions don't define who I am today. I'm sorry about what happened to your parents, but I know you don't hate me. You're not the kind of person to blame me for something I didn't do and had no control over. It was just surprise after surprise tonight. Iruka couldn't believe how much Naruto seemed to have changed in just a few short hours. To be honest, he'd rather have the knucklehead ninja laughing, cracking jokes, or babbling on about ramen than talking so seriously like this to him. Iruka could do nothing but stare at the boy. Naruto, when did you find out? Iruka wondered. Tonight. Naruto replied, his words confusing the hell out of Iruka. Naruto smirked to himself. He was actually telling the truth in this regard. In his past life, this was the exact night he found out that he was the demon container of the Kyuubi no Yuko. However, he had many years to accept that in his past life too. I don't understand. Iruka muttered, more confused than he had ever been in his entire life. Trust me, sensei. You'd never understand or believe me if I gave you the full story. Naruto chuckled. Iruka was, again, in shock and at a loss for words. So, how does it feel to have a giant shuriken wedged in your spine? Iruka smiled when he saw the youth laugh. He was so much more used to a laughing, childish Naruto than a mature, serious one. Unpleasant. Iruka chuckled, his shock wearing off and the pain in his back becoming more apparent. A question suddenly formed in his head. Naruto, how did you learn the Kage Bunshin technique? What? You think I'd steal a forbidden technique scroll and not look through it? Naruto grinned mischievously, remembering the scroll that was strung onto his back. You must not know me very well, sensei. I guess not. Iruka smiled. He gently reached behind his head and untied his headband. He held it out to Naruto. The blonde just stared at it. This is your reward for beating Mizuki and learning a great technique. Congratulations, Naruto. You've officially graduated from the academy. He placed it in Naruto's hand. Naruto fingered his old headband. To tell the truth, he couldn't say he was as enthused to get it as he had been before. He wasn't as ecstatic as he was before because to him it just felt like an old memory. He didn't feel happy, but nostalgic. Of course, that wasn't necessarily a bad feeling. Still, for Iruka's sake, he smiled happily for his sensei. Wow! I'm finally a ninja. Thank you, Iruka-sensei. Thank you so much. Irika chuckled, the expression on the boy's face made him feel like a proud sensei. Naruto shoved it in his pocket. With one arm supporting his sensei and the other returning to carry the Forbidden Arts scroll on his back, he couldn't exactly return it to its old position on his forehead at the moment. For now, he would get his sensei to a hospital and then return the scroll to the old man. Naruto stood outside the door to the Hokage's office. His ninja headband was displayed proudly on his forehead. He had left the goggles he used to wear with Irika as a parting gift and a thank you for his years in the academy. He held the Forbidden Arts scroll in his shaking hands. On his way here, he had realized this would be his first time seeing the old man in many years. The last time he had seen the Sandaime was during his funeral after Orochimaru had killed the man who had been like a father to him since his youth. It was only after standing in front the door to his office for the past 10 minutes that Naruto realized he was afraid. To him, this was a wake-up call. So far, all of this had seemed like a dream to him. To relive an event that had almost been forgotten as time passed and more battles were fought seemed so unreal to him. Naruto was afraid that if he opened the door, his dream would shatter and he'd find himself inside the belly of the Shinigami with his parents. How cruel would that be, to find that all of this was just an illusion? On the other hand, if this was all real and he really was back to where everything really started for him, he didn't know if he could contain his joy in front of the old man. There was no way he'd understand if he just waltzed in there, took one look at the man he believed was dead and broke down in tears of joy. Naruto took a deep breath, preparing himself for whatever might come out of this. He slowly grasped the handles of the door and pushed his way inside. Naruto! So nice of you to decide to return the scroll you stole from me. Naruto froze when he saw Hiruzen Saruobi's chuckling old face. He immediately bowed his head in respect, which was actually done to keep the old man from seeing the tears start to gather in the corners of his eyes. It's real. Now Naruto. There's no need for that. The Sandaime laughed, gesturing for the boy to stand up. Though I'd appreciate it if you'd return my scroll. Why yeah. Naruto's voice cracked as he slowly approached the Hokage of Konoha. He placed the large scroll on his desk. Sorry for stealing it. Well, it all worked out in the end. Sarutobi smiled. And you benefited from it as well, didn't you, Naruto? You've learned a powerful technique and became a ninja. And you did save Irika and return the scroll in the end, I guess. Naruto mumbled, eyeing the crystal ball on the table. He was already aware how the old man kept an eye on certain people. Still, I'm really sorry. Naruto wasn't just apologizing for stealing the scroll. He was also apologizing for putting a stain on the old man's grave in his past life for failing to protect people he had vowed to protect. He was also apologizing for letting the kind Hokage die in his past life. He had to leave quickly before he started crying. What's done is done. Sarutobi smiled. You can't change the past. I intend to. Thank you, Hokage-sama. Naruto smiled. Sarutobi arched an eyebrow at the boy's respect, something he had never showed him before. I have to go now. I'll see you around, yeah? Sarutobi watched intently as Naruto left his office. Something about the youth had changed, and it wasn't just because of his being told he had a demon sealed inside him. He couldn't quite place it, but he knew Naruto had matured in some strange way. The Hokage of Konoha smiled to himself. Maybe he's really on the path to becoming a true shinobi. Well, here's one thing that hasn't changed. Naruto grumbled disdainfully as he gazed upon his old, crappy apartment building. Garbage still littered the place, doors and windows were broken, and he could already smell what he imagined to be skunks juggling dead raccoons somewhere in the vicinity. Naruto sighed as made his way up the stairs to his room. He had a lot to think about. He needed time to organize his thoughts and think about what to do about his current situation. He wasn't given a second life to relive all his pain and suffering a second time. He knew he had to find some way to change things, but how should he go about doing it? He remembered that in a few mangas he had read as a kid, if you changed the past, it would drastically affect the future in good and bad ways. Naruto wondered if he should try and stick to what had happened before with a few variations here and there, or try and change everything completely, using whatever radical and drastic measures necessary. Damn it, this is gonna be tough by myself. Naruto grumbled, wishing he had Shikamaru or someone else to make some sort of plan for him. He opened the door to his apartment and threw off the shirt part of his jumpsuit. He'd think about these things tomorrow after he got some sleep. Welcome home, Naruto-sama. What the hell? Naruto jumped as he heard a voice come from his kitchen. He quickly drew a kunai from his back pouch. Who's there? Calm yourself, I would never think of harming you in any way. The voice, Naruto identified as a feminine one, said reassuringly. I'll present myself to you now. Naruto watched in a dumb stupor as a white fox slowly trotted out of his kitchen and sat before him. The demon container stared down at the creature stupidly. What the freak was this? I'm sorry, does this form not please you? The fox asked gently, shocking Naruto out of his wits. It's not that. It's just that I don't usually find myself talking to a talking fox that just came out of my kitchen. Naruto smiled sheepishly, scratching the back of his head. Holy shit! He was actually talking back to it. I see, then would this be more acceptable? Naruto watched with fascination as the white fox transformed before his very eyes. It lost its fur and snout, grew taller until its head met the tip of his nose. Its features slowly became more human as its paws were replaced with feet and hands. It lost its white fur and was given creamy white skin. Her white human hair was tied up with a clip in a style that reminded him of Anko's, only longer and less wild. At the end of this transformation, Naruto was left to stare a beautiful, white-haired girl in an orange kimono with a kodachi held to her chest. The only non-human feature that remained was two fox ears sticking out on the top of her head. Her pale, creamy skin seemed to give off a faint glow, illuminating his dark, dingy apartment a bit. Is this form suitable to you, Naruto-sama? The girl asked, her eyes looking up at him. I mostly use my animal guise to be discreet, but if you prefer this form, it's fine. Why yeah. You, look fine to me. Naruto mumbled. Fine was an understatement. She was beautiful. He wasn't surprised to find he was blushing. What are you doing in my house, if you don't mind me asking? Of course. The girl nodded. I am Yuzura, an Inari Kitsune who has been asked by Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki to protect and serve their son. My mom and dad? Naruto asked, shocked by what she had said. Yes. Yuzura nodded. She bowed before the stupefied youth. I now pledge to serve under my new master, Naruto-sama, and see to it that his dreams and ambitions are realized and help change this world for the better. You want to be my servant? Naruto asked in disbelief. It is what my heart truly desires most. Yuzura said softly as Naruto made her stand up again. Her purple eyes gazed deeply into Naruto's blue ones. I promise to serve you faithfully until the day that I die. Naruto only had one thought going through his mind. This was not what I expected to happen. This was an unexpected event. Never once did Naruto think that anything like this would happen to him. The only talking fox he had ever known was the Kyuubi, and he didn't transform into a beautiful girl like this one did. Not only that, but she was offering to be his servant. This was something that didn't occur in his past life and it scared the hell out of him. Okay, let's back up for a minute. Naruto stated firmly, trying to calm himself down. Yuzura tilted her head to side curiously. Is something amiss, Naruto-sama? The girl asked, clearly puzzled by his distress. Just sit down. I need a moment to think about this. Naruto asked as politely as he could, gesturing towards his bed. Yuzura promptly sat down on it and watched intently as her new master paced the room with a thoughtful expression on his face. What troubles you so? Yuzura asked, her fox ears twitching a bit. Lots of things. Naruto sighed. He turned towards her. He had to start with the essentials. Can I ask you some questions? Of course. I will answer them to the best of my ability. The fox girl replied with an eager smile. Good. First of all, where did you come from? Naruto asked. I, like many others, was just another soul harvested and brought to the netherworld by the Shinigami after my death. Yuzura replied. I was just another lost soul until your parents, Lord Minato and Lady Kushina, gave me a physical body and sent me to the living world so I could serve and protect you. You said my mom and dad sent you here. What did you mean by that? Naruto asked, voicing one of his more pressing questions. I mean what I said. They outsmarted the Shinigami sent to collect your soul and sent me back to the past with you. Yuzura answered calmly. Minato-sama and Kushina-sama are not well liked in the netherworld. They have defied the Shinigami once before, when they made it so they would appear before you when you had trouble with the Kyuubi. That had happened before in your past life, yes? I could never forget. Naruto smiled at the old memory. He sought his father for the first time when the Kyuubi was out of control during his first fight with Pain, and he finally met his mother when he fought with his dark side. Even though he had great battles to fight, he could never fully express how happy he was to see his real parents for the first time. Your father was a master at sealing techniques. Because of the seal he placed on you, a part of your parents' souls would always be with you in case you needed help, even after they had made their brief appearance before you. Yuzura explained. I was sent here with you through the very seal they had created to seal the Kyuubi. Ha! As I said before, a part of your parents' life force would always stay with you because of the seal. Yuzura continued. Naruto noticed her expression grew sadder, which made him start to worry. From the afterlife, they felt you die. They knew of your failure the moment your soul moved to the next world. When I died. Naruto whispered. But I'm here now, aren't I? Yes, thanks to your parents. Yuzura said softly. When you died and they were able to meet you again, they modified your seal before the Shinigami could claim your soul. Modified my seal? Naruto said, arching an eyebrow. The evidence is right in front of you, Naruto-sama. The fox girl insisted. It is inscribed on your body just as before. Naruto looked down at his stomach. He saw his seal as it had been before he had broken it to free the Kyuubi. However, something about it had changed. There were spiky marks circling around the spiral, which had gained smaller swirls inside it. It looked more like a sun than a swirl now. This is... Naruto asked slowly, looking back up at Yuzura. Your new seal. It has all the properties of your old one, and does effectively seal the Kyuubi inside your body. Yuzura said. The new markings were added by your father to link your soul to your old body in the past so you could do things over again. This was done so you could effectively be sent back in time. I have something similar. Yuzura turned her head and pulled down the back of her kimono a bit to present the nape of her neck to Naruto. It looked like another seal mark, similar in appearance to the one he had on his stomach, only he could make out the kanji symbol that stood for time in the center of the small spiral. Yuzura pulled her collar back up and turned back towards her master. I was marked with a seal so my soul could be attached to yours. Yuzura explained. Your parents knew that they could no longer be there for you, so they thought I was trustworthy enough to become a servant who could help you change things for the better. What do you mean they couldn't be there for me anymore? Naruto asked, an icy pool forming in the pit of his stomach. Yuzura's eyes turned downcast. Naruto-sama, because they had sealed a part of themselves in your old seal, your parents never really died. They were always connected to you from the afterlife because a part of their souls were sealed inside you. However, in order to make this new seal to send you back in time, they had to give up that connection. Naruto's eyes widened. You don't mean, your parents had to sacrifice the rest of their souls in order for you and me to live? Yuzura confessed to him, sadness and sympathy filling her eyes. They had to trade away the rest of their lives in exchange for yours and mine. They couldn't save you without paying a price themselves. Minato-sama and Kushina-sama have now truly passed away. Naruto sank to his knees with tears already starting to fall from his eyes. Why did everything always have some price to pay? His parents had given themselves to the Shinigami so he wouldn't be taken. He had never known his parents early in his life, so he never really had time to mourn them or feel any bitterness towards them for their absence. Even when he saw them disappear before his eyes when they appeared before him to help with the Kyuubi, it never really felt like they had actually left him. He knew now that they had truly died so he could live. They sacrificed themselves so they could save him. Naruto sobbed silently as he slowly came to terms with the fact his failure had been responsible for the deaths of two more of his loved ones, and worse, they were his own mother and father. Naruto-sama. The blonde closed his eyes as he felt warm arms circle around him. Naruto responded by wrapping his arms tightly around Yuzura's waist. The fox girl slowly brought him closer until his head rested just above her chest. Naruto wept silently as he thought of his parents' sacrifice. Naruto leaned into Yuzura's embrace, thankful that he had someone to share his sadness with. The girl soothingly ran her fingers through the boy's wild locks in an attempt to comfort him. She could understand the sadness her sobbing master was feeling. She was indebted to them, not only for giving her a second life, but for so much more. I know what kind of people your parents were. Yuzura whispered softly into his ear. They were kind people. They gave you and me a second chance at life. You aren't going to waste that, are you? No. Never. Naruto shook his head as he stood up, bringing Yuzura up with him. They were great parents. They may not have been around when I was small, but I know that they loved me. I just hope they know that I've always loved them, and I always will. So, what do you intend to do? Yuzura asked, softly brushing away the last of his tears. Make sure things go the way I want this time. Naruto said. There were so many things that needed to be fixed. The problem was finding a way to go about doing that. The resurrected teen glanced at the girl beside him. She looked around the room curiously. Naruto remembered why she was here and what she had declared when she had introduced herself. So, you said you wanted to be my servant? Naruto asked slowly, afraid he might say something to offend her. Yes. Naruto-sama is my new master. Yuzura affirmed with a nod of her head. That's great and all, but I'm not really looking for a servant, so. Naruto trailed off. That is unacceptable. Minato-sama and Kushina-sama told me to help you, and that is what I intend to do. Yuzura stated firmly. Right, and I appreciate that. Naruto sighed, a little aggravated by her attitude towards this. But can't you help me as is? You don't need to be my servant or anything. My kind has always been charged to protect those we have sworn our loyalty to. It was not only because I am indebted to your parents that I offer my services to you. As I have said, this is what I also desire. Yuzura stated, surprising him with her eager tone. I really don't see the point in having a servant, and I've never even thought of having one. Naruto replied, expressing his discomfort at the very idea. He was allergic to the thought of treating people like they were below him. I am confident in what little skills I have. Yuzura insisted, ignoring his words. I can cook, clean, have some skill with the sword, she gestured to the kodachi in her hands, and I can also dispose of bodies if need be. That's nice. Naruto flashed an uneasy smile, a little nervous because of that last talent. He frowned and shook his head. But I don't need a servant, and I would never want one. I can't let you be my servant, it wouldn't be right. Naruto turned his back to her, hoping to get his message across. He hated the idea of having someone think they were inferior to him. To him, she should be seen as his equal. Is Naruto-sama bothered by my presence? The boy's eyes widened when he heard sniffling. He rotated 360 degrees and was shocked to find the fox girl silently sobbing to herself. Naruto, not knowing how to deal with crying girls, immediately panicked. Hey! Why are you crying? Did I do something wrong? Naruto asked frantically. I must apologize. I have been selfish. Yuzura sniffed, wiping some tears from her eyes. I have failed to take Naruto-sama's feelings into account. I should have known my presence would only be a burden to him. What? Naruto sputtered. She was apologizing? I will remove myself from your presence at once. Yuzura muttered sadly, bowing her head towards him. I do not know where I will go, but if you have no need for my services then I will leave immediately. I only wish to repay the debt I owe your parents and protect their only son and help him accomplish his dreams. If you'll excuse me, wait. Naruto grabbed her wrist as she made an attempt to leave. Yuzura turned to him with misty eyes. Is there something you want? Yuzura asked with a bit of hope in her voice. You don't make me uncomfortable at all, Yuzura. Naruto sighed. But do you really have to be my servant? Can't we just be partners? I have offered myself as your servant. Isn't that the same thing? Yuzura asked curiously. No, it's... Naruto sighed in frustration. This girl was pretty difficult to deal with. But there must have been a reason why his parents sent her all the way from the land of the dead to help him out. And if she really wanted to be his servant, Will my agreeing to letting you be my servant make you happy? Naruto asked. Yes. It would be an honor. Yuzura nodded fiercely. Then, I, Naruto Uzumaki, accept you, Yuzura, as my servant. Naruto groaned out reluctantly. Happy? Thank you for accepting me, Naruto-sama. Yuzura beamed as she bowed deeply before him. I am in your care from this day forward. Yeah. Just a few things though. Naruto said, raising a finger. You may be my servant, but you're going to be my partner too. I will treat you as an equal, not a slave, okay? Naruto-sama's kindness is touching. I will not abuse it. Yuzura smiled. Ah, that's the other thing. Naruto frowned. Drop the honorifics. It's not like I'm a king or anything. I will have to politely refuse, Naruto-sama. Yuzura said, shaking her head. I could never refer to my master in such a blunt manner. Seriously, just Naruto. Naruto pleaded. You are my new master, Naruto-sama. Just Naruto. Naruto-sama. Naruto. Naruto-sama. Naruto. The boy yelled. Naruto, stop. Naruto shouted, silencing her. 3, 2, 1. Sama. I'm not. Whatever. Naruto sighed. Other than having some fox girl as his servant, this was just another thing he'd have to get used to. He. Naruto was surprised to find Yuzura giggling softly to herself. What did she find so funny? Naruto-sama is amusing. Yuzura giggled. To be bothered by such a trivial matter. You're the one that was crying over it. Naruto mumbled to himself. He pulled out a futon. I'll sleep here, you can take the bed. I cannot do that. I am the servant, you are the master. I will take the futon, thank you. Naruto sighed, deciding that agreeing with her was better than arguing about it. He threw himself on his bed and folded his hands behind his head, looking up at the ceiling. I can't believe I'm really back at the beginning. Naruto whispered softly. A miracle your parents have caused and their last blessing to you. Yuzura said. Do you have any idea how to start? I know what I want to keep from happening, but I don't know how I should change events. Naruto muttered. When I think about it, there are a lot of things I want to change. There are so many that I don't know if I'll be able to change them all. I will help in any way I can. Yuzura assured her master. Don't take on too many things at once. You should start out small and slowly work your way up. I guess you're right. Naruto sighed. Naruto-sama, there's something else you should know. Yuzura said, sitting up on her futon. The blonde turned his head towards the white-haired girl. Only you know of the life you once lived. No one else knows of the difficulties you faced in your past life. However, you may share your memories with others if you wish. What? The prime reason your parents sent me to help you is because of a certain ability that I possess. I have a special technique that allows me to dive into a person's mind. Yuzura said, staring into his eyes. This also allows me to share my memories with another person, or share your memories with another person. So, if you feel like there is a person who can help us, if I share my memories with that person, they'll know about what happened in my past life. I could give them their old memories. Naruto finished, realizing what this could mean. He could restore the memories of his friends. They could all band together and fight the threat that existed somewhere in the world. They could prepare for Orochimaru, the Akatsuki, and Madara. This was perfect. I would suggest you use my power wisely, Naruto-sama. Yuzura said with a deathly serious look in her eyes, forcing him to abandon his happy train of thought. Memory is something that should usually be kept to oneself. Depending on the person, this power could be a curse or a blessing. It may not be best to remind someone of who they were in a past life. Naruto could actually see the truth behind her words. He had to be careful about who he shared his memories with. If he shared his memory with someone like Kakashi or the Sandaime, they might help him. If he were to share his memories with Sasuke, he might betray him for power and killing again. Someone like Sakura might act rashly and make a scenario harder to change. Now wasn't the time to make hasty decisions about sharing his memories. He would have to think long and hard about the matter if he wanted to share his memories with any of his friends. He had to choose those who could truly be trusted. I'll have to be very careful. Naruto agreed. Thanks for telling me, Uzura. I'm happy to be of use. Uzura smiled. There's one other thing. A message your father wanted me to tell you. Really? Naruto asked, sitting up. What was it? Just do what you feel is right. Uzura answered. That's all. Ha! I'll try my best. Some of my decisions in the past weren't the best, but I'll try and change things for a better future. Naruto smiled. He leaned over to turn off the lamp next to his bed. You'll help me, won't you, Uzura? I'll do whatever I can. Uzura assured him with a soft smile on her face. Thank you. Naruto gave her a warm smile, truly grateful he had a partner in this. Good night, Uzura. Sweet dreams, Naruto-sama. Tomorrow is when it will all start anew. I will change things for the better. I promise to not let my parents' sacrifice go to waste. I'll save everyone this time around. This is one promise I won't break this time around. Chapter 3. New First Impressions. Naruto yawned as he slowly woke up. Thoughts on what to do about his situation already swarmed in his head. Rubbing his temples in a vain attempt to calm his mind, he thought back to the number of events that had occurred just yesterday night. He had cheated death, found out he was a kid again, kicked the shit out of Mizuki a second time, and gotten himself a servant who could turn from a fox and into a beautiful girl at will. Sure, that kind of stuff happens all the time. Naruto chuckled to himself, marveling at how incredible his situation truly was. As he slowly became aware of his surroundings, he found that something about his apartment seemed different. Something about it seemed less depressing. After another quick surveillance of the room, Naruto realized what was so different. My room is clean. His room, no, his apartment in general had always been a terrible thing to look at, let alone live in. It was such a horrid place that Naruto often thought that the reason he never seemed to have problems with bugs or rats was because the place was unsuitable even to them. But now, everything was clean. The windows were sparkling, his clothes weren't scattered across the floor, the trash was gone, some holes had been patched up, and hell, even the door was back on its hinges. To add to all that, a most intoxicating aroma was coming from the kitchen. Naruto slowly got out of bed, walking towards the kitchen and closer to the smell. When he entered the kitchen, he was surprised yet again. Good morning, Naruto-sama. Uzura turned and bowed to him. He wasn't surprised to see Uzura, but was more astounded by the feeling of someone greeting him when he got up. He had always been used to quietness in the morning, but now, there was someone to greet him. It was strange, but nice. Morning, Uzura. Naruto yawned. Breakfast will be ready in a few minutes. Uzura smiled at him before turning back to her cooking. Please wait until then. Thanks. Naruto grinned. A pretty girl cooking breakfast for him, another surprise, and definitely one he could get used to. So, what are your plans for today? Uzura asked, trying to strike up conversation. Do you need anything that requires my assistance today? I don't think so. Naruto said, taking his seat at the table. If I remember right, today I get assigned to my genin cell. He took another quick look around his apartment. Besides, you've done more than enough already. I've never seen this place so clean, ever. It is common for servants to clean up after their masters. Uzura replied. This place was in terrible condition. I have made it suitable so that Naruto-sama would be more comfortable living here. Still, thank you. Naruto smiled. I feel a little bad about it though. Did you get any sleep? You must have done it at night, so it took no time at all. Uzura smiled reassuringly, placing his breakfast before him. I was also careful not to wake you. Foxes are very quiet and stealthy. Even so, you. Naruto trailed off as the smell was too overwhelming when it was directly under his nose. He looked down to see a big, steaming bowl of ramen. If the smell wasn't a deceiver, he couldn't wait to taste it. My skills in the kitchen are mediocre, but I hope you are satisfied with it. Uzura said, shifting her feet nervously. Since it was the only thing in your pantry, I assumed Naruto-sama had a certain fondness for ramen, so The boy slowly dipped his chopsticks in the bowl and grabbed a few noodles. He slowly took a bite out of his meal. Is it any good? Yuzura asked anxiously. Delicious. Naruto stated happily, quickly digging into his meal vigorously. This stuff could rival Ichiraku's ramen. I'm glad. Yuzura sighed in relief, smiling brightly at his compliment. I'll begin putting the dishes away. Aren't you going to eat with me? Naruto asked. His eating came to a halt. Eat with you? Yuzura asked. I only made enough for Naruto-sama. There's enough for 2 people. Naruto said, quickly dashing over to the cupboards and grabbing another bowl and chopsticks. He poured half of his meal into it. I don't need anything. Why do you want me to eat with you? Yuzura asked curiously. Well, it feels awkward if I'm eating by myself when another person is in the house. Naruto smiled sheepishly. Besides, I'll feel even worse about you cleaning my room and cooking me this great breakfast if I don't share with you. But I made it for you, not me. Yuzura protested. Yuzura, it bugs me when someone does so much for me and I don't show any gratitude for it. Naruto said. And you should know, I love ramen. I never share it. I'm sharing my ramen with you. This is an offer you can't refuse. Yuzura just stared at him. She brought a hand to her mouth as she started to giggle. Oi, what's so funny? Naruto-sama is an amusing master. Yuzura giggled. You said something similar last night. Naruto grumbled. Fine. If Naruto-sama permits it, I will eat with him. She said with a smile as she took her bowl. I permit it. Naruto said, rolling his eyes. This whole servant and master relationship wasn't something he would entertain. I'm glad that I've learned so much about you already. Yuzura smiled. Naruto arched an eyebrow at her. I look forward to finding out more about my new master, and I look forward to getting to know my new friend better. Naruto replied. Friend. Yuzura mouthed, the word sounding strange and foreign to her. She looked down at her meal and back at Naruto. What is it? Naruto asked uneasily. Her gaze was making him a little uncomfortable. Naruto arched an eyebrow when she bowed her head with a red face. Naruto-sama is a really kind person. Yuzura said quietly. Ha? I couldn't hear that. Naruto was going to ask her to repeat what she had said until he noticed he lacked one article of clothing. Oh, I'll go put on a shirt. Why? Naruto repeated, surprised by her question. Because it's not fitting for a guy to be in front of a girl without all his clothes on. But it's your house. Yes, but that doesn't change the fact that it's still impolite. Oh. Yuzura nodded in understanding. Naruto quickly made a dash for his room. Yuzura? Yes, Naruto-sama? Where are my clothes? Naruto asked, only finding his socks and boxers in his dresser. I threw them out. You what? Naruto shouted, running back into the kitchen and staring at her incredulously. Why? I do not know if you were aware of this, but your dresser was filled with bright, orange jumpsuits. Yuzura replied calmly, fixing him with a serious gaze. I had assumed it was because Naruto-sama couldn't afford clothing more suitable for a ninja. Suitable. Yes. I can only imagine how difficult it would be to remain stealthy while wearing an ugly thing like that. Enemies would spot you from a mile away. Ugly. So last night I took the liberty of getting you clothes befitting for a ninja. Yuzura reported happily. They are waiting for you next to your bed. I am confident that you will be able to move easily in them and I hope they are to your liking. Thank you. Naruto smiled weakly, moving over to the desk next to his bag to pull on his new clothes. His old clothes didn't look that bad, did they? Still, the words Yuzura had used to describe his old clothes made him start to question his fashion sense. Well, at least he could still confidently say that he had better fashion sense than Lee, right? Naruto stepped into his old room in the academy, wearing loose cargo pants and a black t-shirt. He smiled at the sight of all his old friends. This was back before all their trouble started, and a time where he had just been happy being a ninja. Everyone in this room but him was blissfully unaware of what a cruel, harsh life a ninja would have to lead. They didn't know about the pain and suffering a ninja would experience sometime in their lives. No one here knew about the Akatsuki or Orochimaru. I really missed these peaceful days. Get away from my Sasuke-kun, Inopig. Sakura's shrill, immature voice was like music to his ears. Naruto smiled fondly at his old teammates. They all looked like they did before, young and alive. Sakura was arguing with Ino over who would sit next to Sasuke. She was back to being the long-haired Sasuke fangirl that paid Naruto little to no attention. The same went for Ino as well. Beside the bickering duo sat his best friend. It was the old Sasuke who was his best friend, not the crazy, bloodthirsty demon who had killed him in another life. He took the time to look at all of his once-deceased friends. Kiba was tossing a ball across the room, laughing as Akamaru ran around the room to catch the rolling ball. Choji was eating a bag of chips next to a sleeping Shikamaru while Shino read a book about Bugs' seat behind them. Hinata was looking around nervously, probably wondering who her new teammates would be. Naruto cracked his knuckles and confidently stepped into the classroom. It was time to make an impression. And maybe have a little fun while he was at it. But first, morning, Hinata. The Hyuga girl jumped when she heard her name. She gasped and blushed when she saw who had addressed her. Hinata was surprised that Naruto had greeted her, and she was even more surprised when he made his way over to her. And Naruto-kun? Hinata stuttered. Why, you're here. I thought that you didn't pass? Naruto finished for her, flashing a warm smile. Yeah, I didn't. But I recently learned a really cool technique that allowed me to graduate. Pretty sweet, right? Oh. That's good. I am happy why you passed. Hinata managed to get out. Hinata was overjoyed that her crush was talking to her, but she couldn't imagine what reason he had for doing so. Maybe he was just being friendly. Still, he had never shown her any interest before. Hell, she had always thought that Naruto didn't even know who she was or that she even existed. Yet, here he was talking to her. Miraculously, he was still talking to her. So, is there anyone you want to be on a team with? Naruto asked curiously. Everyone is nice so, it doesn't really matter to me. Hinata smiled, trying to keep herself from fainting. Secretly, she wanted to be on Naruto's team. Not that she'd ever tell him that. Is there, anyone you have in mind, and Naruto-kun? There are a few I'd prefer. Naruto replied, looking around. Though I'd die if I were stuck with Shino or Kiba. One has less of a personality than a log and the other one would probably give me fleas. Mao, that's not nice, Naruto-kun. Hinata scolded, even though she was giggling. But, if I had to choose, I'd like to be on the same team as you. Naruto said casually. What? Hinata gasped, not sure if she had heard him right. With me. I should probably grab a seat before Iruka shows up. Naruto said mostly to himself, noticing Hinata's frazzled state but acting oblivious to it. It was nice talking to you, Hinata. See you later. The girl, at a loss for words, just waved dumbly as he walked away. Naruto left with a satisfied smirk on his face. She was just so damn cute when she was blushing. A few choice memories from his past life flooded in his mind. Naruto, how are you feeling? Hinata asked, sitting down beside him. Anxious. Excited. Worried. I'm feeling lots of things right now. Naruto sighed, running his hands through his blonde shock of hair. The two ninja were sitting atop a hill just outside the village. Both looked up at the night sky. There was an abundance of stars out tonight, and a full moon too. They would be able to appreciate the beauty of it all if tomorrow's events weren't clouding their minds. Madara plans to dominate the world by projecting his Mangekyo Sharingan on the moon. Naruto repeated Madara's plan that he and the other Kages had gone over numerous times. To do so, he'll use the demonic statue of the outer path and fuse the 9 demon beasts into their original 10-tailed demon beast form and become its Jinchuriki so he can gain enough power to hypnotize everyone in the world to achieve peace. A fake, hollow peace with no meaning. Tomorrow, we launch the attack. It's the first time all of the ninja countries have ever united together. Hinata remarked. She smiled at the boy who had made it all possible. Wouldn't it be nice if everything stayed like this even after we defeat Madara? That would be. Naruto chuckled. B and Gaara would love the idea. I might be able to get the Mizukage to agree, but that stubborn old Tsuchikage would never agree to it. Naruto sighed and stared up at the starry night sky. Things would have gone a lot smoother if it wasn't for B's brother, the Raikage. B is a better leader than that power-hungry fool ever was. Hinata said with distaste, remembering how the Raikage had been swayed by Kabuto's promises of power and betrayed their alliance. He won't be bothering us now though. Yeah, but now Madara's got the undead Akatsuki on his side thanks to Kabuto, not to mention a good majority of the Lightning Country and other crazy followers. It's going to make the fighting much tougher. Naruto sighed. His face held a melancholy expression. And I'll finally have that rematch with Sasuke tomorrow. What are you going to do about him? Hinata asked. I still want to save him, but... Naruto trailed off. He closed his eyes. People keep telling me one of us is going to die in that fight. I want to save him, but not if it ends up costing any lives. I don't want to lose anyone. You won't. Hinata reassured, taking one of his hands into both of hers. Naruto, you'll help us through this fight. You've gained so many allies and have so many friends who support you. You're the first person who has ever united the 5 villages together, and Tsunade has named you as her successor. Once the battle is finished, you'll be the new Hokage. You've finally accomplished your dream. You should be confident, not sad. I know. I should be. Naruto smiled. I finally have everything I've always wanted. I have friends, people respect me, I'm going to be the next Hokage, and I've got a great girl who loves me. Naruto smiled warmly at the Hyuga girl, causing her to blush. Naruto turned away. But I just can't shake this uneasy feeling in my chest. Naruto. I'm afraid some of us won't make it back. I'm afraid I'm not going to make it back. Don't say that. You know, I never did give you a reply to your confession, did I? Naruto said, smiling at Hinata. The girl blushed. The two had talked about it, and it was clear what she felt towards the future Hokage, but he had never given her a proper answer. Small talks, and infrequent holding of hands and small moments like these were all they had, yet he had never actually responded to her confession when she protected him from pain. Hinata, I treasure every moment I spend together with you. Every time I see your smile, I think that I'm the luckiest guy in the world for having someone as beautiful as you love me. Naruto said. He gently held her hands in his and leaned his face closer to hers. And Naruto. Hinata whispered softly, her blush lighting up her face. I don't know what tomorrow's battle will be like, but I do know I want to spend every remaining moment I have with you. Naruto said softly. His face slowly got closer and closer to hers. Hinata leaned forward, her eyes closing only halfway. So, I want to make it very clear to you that His confession was followed by their first kiss. They had spent their final night together in each other's arm. The next day they had their final kiss when she lay dying in his arms. A few hours later was when he died, remembering her and all his friends who had died before him and whom he had failed to protect due to his weakness and indecision. I'll never forget those moments with you. Naruto thought wistfully. He silently vowed to make new ones with this new life. He gazed up determinedly at his next targets. His old teammates, Sakura and Sasuke. The first thing he had to do was get back the bond he shared with his teammates. Naruto put on his best smile as he approached the bickering Sasuke fangirls known as Sakura and Ino. Morning Ino, Sakura. Naruto greeted, slowing to a more casual pace as he approached them. The two girls gave a quick glance in his direction. Sakura gave an unladylike snort when she realized who exactly was addressing her. Ino was also visibly distressed by the blonde's sudden appearance and wrinkled her nose in disgust. Naruto, what are you doing here? In case you didn't know, you were only supposed to attend class today if you passed the graduation exams. Ino sneered at him. Yeah. You couldn't even make one clone. Sakura said, pointing at him mockingly. Well, in case you didn't notice, I have a headband on. Naruto smiled, gesturing to his forehead. I learned a little trick that allowed me to graduate, so here I am. No way. Ino said disbelievingly. Yes way. Now if you'll excuse me. Naruto went around the two girls and sat in the seat beside Sasuke. The Uchiha paid him no mind and continued to stare straight ahead. Naruto smiled and casually kicked his feet up on the desk to relax. He turned his head towards Sasuke, who was trying to burn a hole in the wall with his glare. "What is it about the wall you find so fascinating?" Naruto asked the boy next to him jokingly. Sasuke grunted in response and closed his eyes. "Hey! That's my seat, Naruto!" Sakura shouted. "What are you talking about, forehead girl? That seat is mine." Ino countered. "I'm Naruto, by the way." Naruto smiled, ignoring the girl's prattle for now. He jabbed a thumb backwards. "And in case you haven't noticed, you've got two pretty girls fighting over you." Sasuke didn't even look at him. Sakura and Ino blushed at Naruto's unexpected compliment, but they were not so flattered as to give up the only remaining seat next to their beloved Sasuke. Just as they were about to start threatening the blonde, Naruto decided to open his mouth. He turned towards the two girls and fixed them with a serious gaze. "Sorry ladies, it looks like I have some bad news." Naruto frowned at them. "It would appear that our dear friend Sasuke is gay." "I'm what?" Sasuke shouted, standing up. The class instantly grew silent. All eyes were suddenly on the Uchiha. It wasn't just because of Naruto's sudden accusation, but it was the first time the stoic boy had ever shown any real emotion in front of anyone. Naruto held his hands up in defense. "Whoa, no need to get so worked up. I mean, it's just something I concluded through observation." Naruto said defensively. "What are you talking about?" The Uchiha demanded. "Dude, you'd have to be some kind of homosexual if you don't react to this," Naruto said, gesturing to Sakura and Ino. "Not just them, but almost every girl in the academy literally throw themselves at you every day and you show absolutely no interest in them. You don't even smile to show you appreciate what most guys envy you for. So, I just assumed that you prefer a man's warm embrace rather than a girl. Screw you. I'm straight," Sasuke yelled, glaring at the boy. "Some attitude you've got there. I can see that you'll make one man very happy one day." Naruto smirked. By now, most guys in the rooms were snickering at the uncharacteristically distressed Uchiha and Naruto's wild, if somewhat plausible accusation. Almost all the girls had looks of distress on their faces, almost looking like they believed Naruto. The demon container snickered to himself. This was way better than the original scenario when he had tried to have a staring contest with Sasuke on his desk. That had turned out badly for both of them and he was still disgusted by the memory. This was a lot funnier. Is it true, Sasuke-kun?" Ino asked fearfully. "Are you really, like that? He's an idiot. Don't listen to a word he says." Sasuke protested desperately. "They say denial is the first stage." Naruto taunted, earning horrified gasps from the girls and laughter from the guys. "Shut up. Why would you think dash? Morning class." Iruka smiled as he stepped into the classroom. You would have never guessed he had surgery for his back the night before. He looked completely healthy. As Iruka made his way to his desk, he was mildly surprised to find the class in an uproar. "Wow, everyone sure is excited today. Sasuke, is there something wrong?" "And nothing wrong, sensei," Sasuke replied, quickly regaining his composure and returning to his seat. He quietly folded his hands in front of him. "Nothing at all. Yeah. We just learned something new about our friend Sasuke today," Naruto said loudly, earning chuckles from the majority of the male population of the class and worried looks from the females. "Shut it, dobe," Sasuke growled, launching a hard dig on the boy's arm. Naruto chuckled as he rubbed the sore spot on his arm. "Settle down," Iruka ordered, fixing the class with a stern gaze. He was a little thrown off by how worked up Sasuke seemed to be, but he felt like he shouldn't question it. "Could everyone please take their seats?" Everyone sat down. Sakura quickly grabbed the seat next to Naruto, forcing Ino to take the empty one next to Shikamaru. Iruka pulled out a list naming the teams and their jonin teachers. Naruto smiled to himself. He already knew what the teams would be. "I will now read off the teams you'll be in," Iruka announced. Team 7 under Kakashi Hatake will be Sakura, Haruno. Uchiha, Sasuke. Yes. Sakura shouted in triumphant joy, earning collective groans and whines from many of the females in the class and an indignant shout from Ino and Uzumaki Naruto. Iruka finished. Ah! Sakura groaned when she heard who her third teammate was. Sasuke appeared indifferent while Naruto just shrugged and gave the pink-haired girl a light smile. A few seats below them, a certain Hyuga lowered her head in disappointment. This means I won't be with Naruto. Hinata mumbled quietly to herself. Team 8 under Kurenai Yuhi will consist of Aburame, Shino, Hyuga, Hinata, and Inazuka, Kiba. Iruka continued. Hinata almost fell over in her seat. Strange, her teammates were the two people Naruto had joked about before. The girl turned around to glance at her new companions. Kiba sneezed and snorted while Shino sat in his seat looking as emotionless as ever. Hinata sighed to herself. She hoped that she'd get along with them at least. Ino was more distressed when she found out the lazy Shikamaru and Fatboy Chuji were on her team. Later, she'd be far less impressed with her sensei Asuma Sarutobi than she was with her two teammates. I'll be giving all of the teams their papers stating where you will be meeting your senseis, Iruka announced after he finished naming the teams. You are to go to these locations immediately after I have dismissed you all from class. Iruka proceeded to hand out papers to their respective teams. After doing so, the teacher smiled at the students he'd taught for the past few years. I am pleased that so many have graduated this year. I am proud of each and every one of you. I know each of you will grow up to be excellent shinobi. Iruka smiled. His gaze rested on each graduate in the class, though he stared at Naruto for a few extra moments before moving on to the next phase. The path of a shinobi is long and difficult, but I know each of you have what it takes to become great ninja. Good luck to you all. Class dismissed. Class had been dismissed, but Team 7 was forced to stick around inside the academy due to their sensei. The paper said to meet inside the academy at 3 o'clock, but their teacher was terribly late. Everyone else had left to meet with their teachers or was picked up, but it was already close to 5 and Team 7 sensei had yet to show up. While this came as no surprise to Naruto, Sakura and Sasuke were frustrated by their sensei's lateness. Arg! What's taking him so long? Sakura demanded, looking up at the clock over Iruka's desk. The letter said 3. We've been waiting for 2 hours. He'll be here eventually, Naruto said casually, slowly getting up from his chair. Why are you so nonchalant about this? Sakura asked the blonde as he made his way towards the chalkboard and picked up an eraser. She expected the usually hyperactive boy to be the one throwing a tantrum, not her. I don't mind having a little quiet time with my teammates. Naruto smiled at Sakura. The girl blinked at the boy's warm attitude, and was surprised by the way his was acting. Hand me that chair, will you? Sure. Sakura said, picking up a chair near the front row and handing it to the boy. What do you need it for? Just a little prank. Naruto replied, stepping up on the chair and placing the eraser on the top of the door. He had remembered doing this before and thought it'd be fun to do it again. No self-respecting jonin would fall for that. Sasuke put in, scoffing at the childish prank. Maybe. Naruto shrugged, already predicting what would happen. But if it does work, I'll just blame it on you. What? A few minutes later, Kakashi Hatake stepped through the door, the eraser falling on his head as he opened it. The copy blinked when a small dust cloud settled over his head. He adjusted his lopsided headband stupidly. Sakura let a few giggles while Sasuke tried to contain his laughter and keep up his cool, emotionless front. Naruto just shrugged and smiled to himself. It's not as funny the second time. He muttered to himself. HM. Kakashi overlooked his new students as he recovered himself. Based on first impressions. I hate you all and you're going to fail. Sakura and Sasuke glared at their sensei's attitude. Naruto was trying his best not to jump and shout for joy. Seeing people who he saw die in a previous life was getting to be too much for him. Seeing Kakashi again was just too good to be true. Whatever. Meet me on the rooftop in 10. Kakashi relayed to his team, then disappeared in a puff of smoke. Sakura and Sasuke groaned. Based on his attitude and the prank, he would probably turn out to be a terrible sensei who hated their guts. The two turned towards Naruto, who was chuckling to himself. The blonde smiled at them. I like him. What do you guys think? His two teammates glared at him. Chapter 4. Recreating bonds and testing limits. Okay. We never got a chance to really introduce ourselves back there, did we? Kakashi asked as he looked at his new students. Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura. Kakashi, was their sensei. Together, they made Team 7. He overlooked each of them. The Uchiha boy was looking straight at him with his hands folded in front of him with an unreadable expression on his face. Sakura was sitting next to him nervously shifting around, but did look a little eager. Kakashi's gaze switched to Naruto. He had been most surprised by this particular student. He had looked over his files with the Hokage a few days before, and was shocked to find that most of what he read and heard about contradicted what he had seen. Naruto was said to be a troublemaker with no special skills. He was also quite the talker and very stubborn, and he was told to expect lots of questions from the exuberant youth. Yet, the boy was just sitting calmly next to Sakura, smiling at his new sensei and not saying a word. Other than the eraser prank, he hadn't done anything to annoy him yet. So, who wants to start introductions? Kakashi asked curiously. When none of his students spoke up, he decided to be the first one to break the ice. Okay, I'll go first. My name is Kakashi Hatake. I have my likes and dislikes, my goals in life are none of your business, I've got lots hobbies, but mostly I like to read. That was pretty vague, sensei. Sakura said with an annoyed expression. Oh? Well, why don't you show me how it's done then? Kakashi replied. Okay. Sakura said, looking a bit uneasy. My name is Sakura Haruno, I'm 13 years old. My hobbies include shopping, gardening, and hanging out with friends. I like Sasuke-kun. The girl shot him a longing glance which the boy promptly ignored. I don't like Inoppig or Naruto. Sakura glared at the other boy beside her. To her surprise, the blonde just smiled and shot her a foxy grin. Sakura expected him to groan and sulk like he usually did, but that was not the case. She cursed herself when she felt her face grow hot. Hey, anyway, I hope to become a good ninja to impress those who I want to impress. Sakura stared at Sasuke as she said this, but her flustered expression was due to Naruto's unusual reaction to her insult. Alright then. Kakashi nodded, observing his students' interactions with interest. How about you, Sasuke? Fine. Sasuke said. He closed his eyes. My name is Sasuke Uchiha. I don't have a lot of hobbies. I don't really have anything that I like, in fact, I hate a lot of things. Kakashi sighed. Just as brooding and antisocial as he'd heard. He had his work cut out for him, and there is one person who I have vowed to, Kami, and I thought Shino was boring. Naruto groaned loudly, cutting off the Uchiha's speech. Seriously, Sasuke, grow a personality. What did you say? The Uchiha demanded, glaring at the boy. This isn't how people introduce themselves. Naruto said, fixing him with a stern gaze. He smiled. You should show more of your flamboyant side. Don't hide it. Fuck off. Sasuke growled. His eyes widened as he caught himself. Sakura and Kakashi were both staring at him. He shoved his hands in his pockets and closed his eyes again, trying to regain his cool demeanor. Anyway, there is one person who, To his irritation, both Naruto and his new sensei were chuckling. Sasuke's eye twitched. It was no use. His dramatic speech had been ruined. Fine. Sasuke shouted, making Sakura jump. My name is Sasuke Uchiha. My hobbies are training and reading. I like learning new techniques in jutsu to make me stronger. I hate fangirls who won't leave me alone. And my goal is to kill my brother. Happy? Much better. Naruto chuckled, clapping at his new introduction. We now know more about you than anyone else in the village now. I'm happy to see that you're such a sociable person, Sasuke. Kakashi chuckled, earning a grunt and a glare from the boy. Naruto, why don't you tell us about yourself? Sure thing. Naruto smiled. I'm Naruto Uzumaki. My hobbies include training, pulling pranks, and meeting new people. I like ramen and I'm told I get along great with most people. Sasuke snorted. Kakashi chuckled. I don't like arrogance, people who think they're above others, or people who would hurt those close to me. My goal in life is to become the Hokage so people will respect me. Kakashi nodded. All their introductions, barring Sasuke's new one, were predictable and matched what he had heard from the Hokage. The copying opened his mouth to speak, but was surprised when he was interrupted. But that's not the only reason I want to become Hokage. Naruto continued. His teammates and sensei's eyes turned towards him. Kakashi was surprised by the strong look the boy had all of a sudden. Respect will come on its own if I become a strong, dependable ninja. Becoming the Hokage is a whole different matter. You have to be ready to put your life on the line to be Hokage. You have to learn to accept the fact you won't be able to protect everyone. Even knowing this, you must always put another's life before your own. Be prepared to sacrifice yourself to make sure everyone stays safe and make sure that anyone who is sacrificed will have not died in vain. I want to become a Hokage with the power to protect everyone close to him. I want to save and protect as many people as I can. I don't ever want anyone to die meaningless deaths. It'll be different this time, my friends won't die. I won't betray their sacrifices in the past. Kakashi just stared at the boy who stared right back. The intensity of Naruto's gaze surprised him more than his speech did. It was only now that he realized everything he'd heard about this boy had been wrong. He wasn't some prankster with no talent who wasn't worth teaching. He wasn't the monster the village made him out to be. This boy was someone who truly wanted to make something out of himself. The copying noticed something in Naruto's eyes he hadn't noticed before. Pain, hurt, experience, caring, kindness, and unshakable determination were all present within his new student. What surprised and scared Kakashi the most was how much the boy suddenly reminded him of his deceased sensei, Minato-sensei. The copying snapped back into reality when he noticed his students had been staring at him expectantly for the past few minutes. Kakashi shook his head. Now wasn't the time to be thinking about his dead teacher. That train of thought would lead to other memories that he had long since repressed. He quickly regained his composure and began to give out his next piece of information. Now that introductions are over, let me tell you about your test. Test? His team asked in unison. Sensei, we're already ninja. I thought we were done with tests. Naruto wondered. Kakashi arched an eyebrow. He suddenly had a strange feeling that the boy's clueless attitude and interest were both fake. Your graduation test was so you could receive your headband and see if you could pull off a few easy tricks. Kakashi replied. I'm going to test whether or not you three are truly ready to become ninja. Meet me at Training Ground 1 tomorrow at 5 for your test. In the afternoon? Sakura asked. In the morning. What? The team chorused. Also, I would suggest that you all not eat breakfast. Think of it as another part of your test. Kakashi smiled under his mask. What? Team 7 stammered in disbelief. See you then. Kakashi disappeared in a puff of smoke. Naruto quickly hopped to his feet while his teammates slowly got up. He thought he did a good job today. He had stuck close to his original actions with a few variations. He hoped that he had changed how his team looked at him. While he didn't want to appear mature and serious out of the blue, he did want his team to see that he wasn't the brainless, impatient idiot he had made himself out to be before. He was sure his speech had made some kind of impact at least. Thinking back, his first impression with his team hadn't been the best. Still, it felt kind of fun to play the fool. Hey Sasuke-kun, want to go on a date? No. Naruto turned towards his teammates. Sakura was, once again, fawning over Sasuke. Naruto rolled his eyes. This was something he didn't miss and wanted to end soon. He also had to crack Sasuke out of his shell soon, or else things would repeat themselves. I won't let Sakura cry again, and I won't lose my best friend this time. See, come on. It'll give us a chance to get to know each other better. Sakura pressed on. Sasuke regarded her with a cold glance. We're teammates, aren't we? Teammates and teammates only. Sasuke scoffed. He smirked arrogantly at her. Besides, what make you think that I'd go anywhere with? I think going out sounds like a great idea. Both Sasuke and Sakura jumped when Naruto suddenly appeared between them. He smiled at them in a familiar fashion. Sasuke just shoved his hands back in his pockets while Sakura glared at him. Naruto. I was talking to Sasuke-kun. I know this place that sells great ramen. Naruto smiled, ignoring Sakura's rage. Nothing helps teammates bond than talking over a nice, steaming bowl of ramen. TCH, go buy yourselves. Sasuke retorted, turning on his heel and walking away from the duo. Sasuke-kun, wait. Sakura called after him. Thanks for proving my point. Naruto shouted at him. He smirked when the Uchiha stopped. What was that, dope? Sasuke asked, turning his head. Turning down a pretty girl's offer to go on a date? Naruto sighed, shaking his head. Sakura blushed at being given another indirect compliment. The proof is evident. You little, why do you keep assuming I'm gay? Sasuke shouted, running up to the blonde with a furious expression. Do I need to explain your situation again? Naruto asked, arching an eyebrow. You don't understand. It's not that I don't like it, they're just so annoying. Sasuke shouted, surprising Sakura and making Naruto smile. The Uchiha wasn't finished though. You don't know what it's like. They won't ever leave me alone. They follow me everywhere I go. I never get any privacy when I want it. Not only that, a few even talked about marriage. Sasuke shuddered. I'm 13 years old for Kami's sake. I can't count how many times I've seen explicit drawings of me in notebooks or pledges of love written on the desks. I've even caught some following me home before. I wouldn't mind it so much if they learned to be a little bit more subtle. Why can't they see that I just want them to leave me alone? Asked Sasuke-kun. Sakura whispered, her mouth hanging open. Naruto was trying his best not to burst out laughing at the Uchiha's rant. This was a variation he found hilarious. I hate fangirls. Sasuke declared, shouting it to the heavens. He pointed at Sakura. And there's no way I'd ever consider going on a date with one. Naruto let out a few chuckles and glanced at Sakura. The girl was staring at her object of affection with wide eyes, appalled by his declaration. Naruto frowned a bit when she looked more than a little hurt by Sasuke's words. The Uchiha blushed and turned away from his new teammates, shocked and disgusted with himself for losing his cool and ranting like that. Naruto sighed. It was time he regained his bond with his teammates. If that's how you feel, this outing is perfect. Naruto smiled. Sakura and Sasuke both looked at him. What are you going on about now? Sasuke glared at him. Sakura, how much do you know about Sasuke? Naruto asked. Before she could speak and begin what would become a long fangirl rant about how hot and great Sasuke was, Naruto added to his question. How much do you know him as a person? Oh. Well. Sakura stuttered. She blushed when she realized she knew next to nothing about the boy bar his good looks and skills. The only other things she knew about were the things he mentioned in his introduction. And Sasuke, how much do you know about Sakura? Naruto asked. When he was about to start another fangirl hate speech, Naruto added to his question. Not Sakura the fangirl, but Sakura the person? Nothing, but she's still annoying. Sasuke admitted, turning away. Okay. We all know nothing about each other. Naruto smiled. So, that's why I'm going to take both of you to Ichiraku's and order some ramen for us to eat. We will eat, talk, and bond like teammates are supposed to. Come on. Sasuke and Sakura could only follow as Naruto grabbed their arms and led them to his favorite restaurant in the world, Taiuchi. 3 bowls of ramen please. Naruto called as he took his usual seat. Sasuke and Sakura sat next to his sides, the Uchiha to the right and the fangirl to the left. Naruto thought hard about what to say. He wanted his teammates' friendship so things could go back to the way they were somewhat. It was best for all of them. So, what do you guys think of our sensei? Naruto asked, trying to start up conversation. I think he's too laid back and careless to be a sensei. He was pretty rude to us too. Sakura said, surprised she was humoring his conversation. What's with the mask though? Maybe he's got something to hide. Naruto chuckled, remembering the many times he and his team attempted to find out what was hidden underneath Kakashi's mask. Maybe during tomorrow's test, we can get him to take off his mask. Wonder what the test will be. Sasuke muttered. Naruto smiled, surprised and happy at his sudden input. Despite his attitude, he is a jonin. It probably won't be as easy as we think, Naruto said. After all, this whole careless attitude could just be a front to throw us off our guard. Possible. Sasuke agreed, seeing the sense in that plan. Well, we won't fall for any tricks, right Sasuke-kun? Sakura gushed, batting her eyes at him. The Uchiha shuddered, turning away from her. Naruto sighed. They would never make any progress if this kept up. He had to end this. Sakura, just stop. Naruto sighed, rolling his eyes. What you talking about? Sakura asked, glaring at Naruto. She was a bit surprised at his sudden change in attitude. Sasuke also raised an eyebrow at the boy. You said earlier there are certain people you want to impress, right? Naruto said, gesturing to Sasuke. You think you're going to impress anyone with what you're doing now? What do you mean? Sakura demanded, angry at the fact she was being lectured by the blonde idiot. Even if he had seemed to mature over the past day or two, Sakura, right now I can honestly say you are the weakest member in our team. Naruto said bluntly, not bothering to sugarcoat that fact. Sakura gasped and glared at him. I am stronger than you, idiot, are you? Naruto asked, arching an eyebrow and staring into her eyes. I. Sakura's words died in her mouth. A few days back, she would have said she was much stronger than him with confidence. As she stared into his ocean blue eyes, she wasn't so sure anymore. She remembered his speech about becoming the Hokage. There was something in his eyes she hadn't noticed before. Sasuke got respect not only through his looks and grades, but through training. Naruto said. Hours of devoted training made people respect him. I am an Uchiha. Sasuke stated proudly, smirking at the fact. Naruto glanced at him. Oh yes, his Uchiha arrogance. He'd have to tone that down a bit too. Sasuke, being an Uchiha had nothing to do with it. Naruto sighed. Sasuke's eyes widened. What did you? Sasuke trailed off. What did he mean? Uchiha were always strong. It was in their blood. Just because you're in a clan doesn't make you strong. Naruto said, staring at the boy. Hard work, blood, sweat, and tears make a great ninja. Even if you weren't an Uchiha, if you trained the way you did now, you'd still be strong. I can make fun of it all I want, but the grades don't lie. Do you think you'd still get respect if you just lazed around and got bad grades? You're strong not because you're an Uchiha, but because you put in the effort to become a great ninja. Sasuke just stared at him. That was probably the nicest thing anyone had ever said to him. I made him feel prouder than just being an Uchiha. Hearing Naruto say his strength was his own and not because of his Uchiha blood, it was nice. Sakura, you're not going to get Sasuke's respect if you spend every moment fawning over him and worshipping the ground he stands on. Naruto said, turning back to her. If you want certain people to acknowledge you, show them that they deserve your respect. Don't kiss up to them, because it won't work. Sakura was at a loss for words. Was this the same annoying idiot she hated in the academy? Still, his words did hold some truth. She got good grades in the academy when it came to tests and such, but her grades in physical activity left a lot to be desired. She started to realize that all she was to Sasuke was an annoying fangirl. If she ever wanted him to respect her, she would have to train hard instead of following him around obsessively all the time. It was time to start treating him like a regular person rather than a god. Sasuke-kun. Sakura began. The Uchiha boy gave her a cold glance. What? I'm sorry for bothering you so much. Sakura apologized, bowing her head slightly and surprising the hell out of the Uchiha. I didn't take your feelings into account, and I know you can take care of yourself without me, but I'd really appreciate it if you gave me a chance to be your friend. Friend. The boy thought, the very word sounding alien to him. Yeah, we're all friends here, right? Naruto smiled, catching the Uchiha in a headlock. Get off me! Sasuke growled, pushing the boy off him. He turned away. But we are teammates. We'll eventually have to get to know each other anyway. Naruto smiled. It was a start. Sakura also looked happy at the boy's answer. Sasuke-kun? Sakura asked. The Uchiha acknowledged her with a slight turn of his head. You mentioned earlier that you wanted to kill your brother? What did you mean by that? Naruto frowned. He noticed Sasuke's eyes narrow and his fists clench. Maybe it wasn't the best time to bring up Itachi. All it would do was make the Uchiha clan back up. However, to his surprise, Sasuke did answer. He's the one who took everything from me. Sasuke growled. That massacre was his doing. Naruto and Sakura glanced at each other. They both knew he was referring to the Uchiha massacre. He's my reason to become stronger. I'll get strong enough to defeat him one day and avenge my clan. Sasuke said, reciting the same vow he had declared repeatedly over the years. Naruto and Sakura looked at their teammate with sympathy. Sakura lowered her head, sorry to have brought up such a sore topic. Naruto looked at his best friend. He wouldn't let him despair again. Sasuke, we're a team now. Naruto declared, wrapping his arm around the boy's shoulder again. Sasuke just glared at him, not in the mood. We'll help you get stronger. I highly doubt that. Sasuke scoffed. Start having more faith in us. Sometimes getting stronger requires help. Naruto smiled. This made the boy look up at him. We're friends after all. There was that word again. Friend. Why yes. We'll help Sasuke-kun get stronger. Sakura added, smiling determinedly at the boy. We'll all get stronger together. As a team. As a team. Sasuke murmured. Yeah. Just one thing though. Naruto said, his grin widening. Since we're your friends, you've got to take us with you when you fight the bastard. And maybe I can show you it wasn't Itachi who was responsible for that massacre. Sasuke just stared at his teammates who smiled right back. He had never had friends before, no one to depend on, but now. You don't have to bottle up your feelings around us. Naruto reassured, still smiling. He smirked. Just don't come out though. I don't want you to express your feelings like that. Screw off. Sasuke scoffed, though he smirked as he said it. Not an arrogant smirk, but a friendly one. He arched an eyebrow at Sakura, who was giggling. What's so funny? I'm starting to believe Naruto. Sakura laughed. Are you gay, Sasuke-kun? I agreed to come here with you, didn't I? Sasuke smirked, causing the girl to laugh and blush. Actually, I dragged you here against your will, but... Naruto chuckled. He glanced at Sakura a bit. Say Sasuke, do you think Sakura would look good with short hair? Sasuke-kun likes long hair though. Sakura replied, remembering what Ino and the others claimed they overheard once. Right, Sasuke-kun? Sasuke turned his head towards his female teammate. She was pretty, he would admit to that, and while she looked fine with long hair, when he imagined her with shorter hair. Actually, I think you would look good with short hair. Sasuke said, shocking the girl. He turned away, a little pink in the face. It's just my opinion though, no need to go spreading it around. Naruto smiled at his friend's exchange. This was better than he could have hoped for. Sakura blushed and started to play with her pink locks while Sasuke waited patiently for his meal to be served. Maybe I really can change things this time. Order up! Taiuchi announced, placing 3 bowls in front of the team. That took longer than usual, old man. Naruto smiled at one of the only adults who liked him in the past. What gives? I had to give you a chance to talk to your new teammates before I served your food. The minute I brought the ramen out you'd just ignore them in favor of eating. Taiuchi smiled. Enjoy. Naruto smiled and dug into his meal. This was a good start. This was proof he could change things if he wanted, even if he didn't share his memories with everyone. Through his experiences he had learned, and he'd protect his friends this time around. Still, he couldn't do this alone, and he already had a few people he planned to share his memories with. He just prayed it would all work out in his favor. I'm home. Naruto stepped into his apartment, expecting Yuzura to greet him when he entered. He glanced around the room to find it empty. The demon container shrugged. Maybe she had gone out for a walk? Welcome home, Naruto-sama. Holy shit! Naruto jumped, spinning around to see his servant standing behind him with a startled expression on her face. Is something wrong, Naruto-sama? Yuzura asked, quickly glancing around the area. What has you so startled? You sneaking up behind me. Naruto smiled, sighing as he calmed down. He stepped aside, letting the fox girl enter the house. How was your day? Yuzura asked curiously. Better than expected. Naruto smiled. He had left his teammates when it started to get dark. They had talked about future missions, tomorrow's test, about the other teams, and got to know each other better. Naruto was glad that Sakura and Sasuke got along so well together and with him. Things were almost like how they used to be before Orochimaru had corrupted his best friend and made him lust after power. They had smiled and laughed, and he had even gotten a few chuckles out of Sasuke. When they had all left to go home, he could say with confidence that they were his friends again. You're smiling, Naruto-sama. Yeah. Naruto grinned. Just being back here and seeing all of them again. I still can't get over it. It must be nice to see the people you've lost. Yuzura smiled. Her smile turned wistful. I am grateful for new life, but I do miss my old friends. Yuzura? Ah, pay me no mind. Yuzura waved him off. Just talking to myself. Naruto looked at her. Come to think of it, he never inquired about her old life before. What kind of life did Yuzura have before dying? What were her other masters like, if she had any? Just as he was about to ask these questions, Yuzura pulled out a carrier scroll. What's that? Naruto asked. Something I have retrieved for you. Yuzura replied, opening the scroll. She made a hand sign and a larger scroll appeared in front of her. She held the surprisingly large scroll out to him. This is for you. It's pretty big. Naruto observed, taking the scroll from her. He'd have to carry it on his back if he wanted to use it. But something about the scroll bothered him. It actually looked kind of familiar. It became clear when he noticed the symbol for forbidden labeled on the front of it. Yuzura. Is this the forbidden art scroll? Naruto asked frantically, hoping he was wrong. Yes. I thought it would be useful to you so I picked it up. Yuzura stated. Return it right now. Naruto ordered, thrusting it back into her hands. Are you displeased? Did I do something wrong? Yuzura asked, tilting her head to the side. You can't just steal the forbidden art scroll. A and BU will be all over the village looking for it. Naruto explained frantically. The general public isn't very fond of me during this time in my life. I've already stolen it before. I'll be on the top list of suspects. Naruto-sama, this isn't the real forbidden arts scroll you stole back from Mizuki. Yuzura said reassuringly, making the boy stop in his rant. This is a copy I made. How did you make a copy? Naruto asked suspiciously. I snuck into the Hokage's office and copied the original one. Yuzura answered proudly. How the hell did you sneak into the Hokage's office without getting caught? Naruto demanded. You underestimate my stealth, Naruto-sama. Yuzura smiled. I asked some local foxes about the village layout, and I was able to navigate and sneak into the Hokage's building. You asked local foxes? Naruto asked dumbly. Inari Kitsune can communicate with other foxes. Yuzura stated. I can also get them to run errands and ask for information. Animals see and hear things most humans do not. That's pretty useful. Naruto said, marveling at the idea of being able to communicate with animals. As long as nobody finds out there is a copy, you needn't worry. Yuzura smiled. She handed the scroll back to Naruto. Thank you. Naruto said, looking down at the scroll. This was a copy of the same scroll he had learned the Kage Bunshin technique from. The scroll had been created by the first Hokage, with other Kages after him adding their own forbidden arts. Naruto opened the scroll and skimmed through it. He glanced at the dead demon consuming seal for a moment, then moved on to the other techniques. My father was a seal master. Naruto said, talking more to himself than to Yuzura. I wonder if I have his talent for performing seals. Minato-sama once said that his son had more potential and strength than he had. Yuzura smiled. I'm sure Naruto-sama can perform some seals if he tried. The thought is nice, Naruto said. But I don't know the first thing about sealing techniques. It's not exactly my forte. You never know until you try. We'll see. Naruto sighed. He paused in his reading and looked up at Yuzura. An idea was slowly starting to form in his head. Naruto suddenly wondered if he'd be able to successfully pass the bell test in his old body. He was sure that he'd become accustomed to fighting in his old body fairly quickly, but that wasn't the issue. His child body felt different than his older body, that's for sure, but if his memories had stayed, then what about his fighting abilities? Say Yuzura, do you think you could hold your own in a fight against me? The Inari Kitsune blinked at her master's unexpected question. The only reason he would ask such a thing was if he was contemplating whether or not to fight with her. But for what possible reason would he want to fight her? Yuzura gave it a little bit of thought until her master's intentions dawned on her. I doubt I could defeat you in an actual fight, but I am confident in my fighting abilities. Yuzura smiled, tapping the kodachi she carried at all times. You want to test your abilities? Yes? I want to test my limits. And get used to fighting in this kid body again. Naruto clarified. He smiled. I didn't expect to go through puberty twice, you know. It was something you never anticipated, I'm sure. Yuzura giggled at her master's joke. I want to know what I can do, Naruto said, clenching his fists in front of him. I'm wondering just how many of the techniques I learned in my past life are available to me now. I understand. Yuzura nodded. Where shall we go to do this? There's a clearing in the forest where I used to train before joining Team 7. Naruto answered. Let's hurry it up. I want to go to bed early so I won't be tired tomorrow. Naruto looked over the training ground. It looked the same. Trees surrounded the clearing in which he and his servant now stood. He turned towards Yuzura. The fox girl slowly drew her kodachi from its sheath. You're going to use that on me? Naruto asked, remembering that Sasuke's sword had impaled him in his old life. Seeing his sword being used against him again made him feel uneasy. It is what I use to fight, Yuzura replied, smiling at him reassuringly. I wouldn't think of hurting Naruto-sama in any way. This is for my own defense, not offense. I can even make things safer. The Jinchuriki watched as she pulled out her carrier scroll and summoned something that looked like a wooden sheath. Yuzura slowly covered the blade part with the wooden sheath. This way, she wouldn't be able to cut Naruto. The most I can do now is break bones, Yuzura assured. Not the most reassuring words, but it's better than getting cut. Naruto smirked. He reached in his back pouch. Get ready. I already have. Yuzura retorted, taking a stance and pointing her covered blade at her master. Naruto hurled 3 shuriken towards the fox girl. She was quick to dodge, and her speed surprised him. Naruto crouched and propelled himself forward, rushing towards his opponent while making a familiar hand sign. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. 2 clones poofed into existence, both of them off on his opposite sides. Naruto grabbed both their arms and threw them forward, sending chakra to his arms to add strength and velocity to his throw. Yuzura reacted quickly to the 2 clones coming her way. She immediately sidestepped and swung her sword down as one of the clones passed by her, slamming her blade into the clone's back. The clone grunted and dispelled immediately as the blade hit him. The other clone came straight for her with a kunai in his hands. Yuzura ducked when he took a swing at her. Yuzura's leg shot up, hitting the clone right under the chin. The clone grunted and was thrown off balance, giving Yuzura enough time to jump up and plunge the hilt of her short sword into the clone's forehead. He disappeared in a puff of smoke. While she had been focused on her 2 attackers, she hadn't forgotten about the original. Yuzura raised her sword, blocking Naruto's fist with the wooden sheath. Naruto pulled back and unleashed a flurry of punches towards the girl, all of which she dodged with surprising agility and ease. Her ears twitched when her heightened fox senses felt something in the earth below her. Just as a Naruto clone burst out of the ground with a fist aimed directly at her face, Yuzura performed a quick backflip, catching the clone in the jaw as she flipped backwards. After hearing the clone dispel, she did a couple more backflips until she was a few meters distance away from Naruto. Well, my chakra reserves are fine and my speed is okay, but not as fast as I used to be, Naruto muttered. He smirked. Maybe his speed didn't go down, but he was just slow in comparison to his servant. Yuzura's technique and speed surprised him. Her movements were graceful and she used that sword expertly. You're a great fighter, Yuzura. Naruto complimented, smiling at the girl. I am honored to hear you say that, Naruto-sama. Yuzura beamed, bowing to his comment. Now, let's hope you're quick enough to dodge this attack. Naruto declared, performing his signature jutsu to summon one shadow clone. Time to see what I can still do. Naruto held out his hand to the clone, exerting his chakra. The clone started waving his hands around the original's hand like a shell, shaping and molding the chakra that was being released. Naruto rotated and stabilized the chakra as the clone shaped it and kept it in place. The clone dispelled when a ball of spinning chakra was left in Naruto's hand. Rasengan! Naruto shouted, holding the ball above his head in triumph. He had first accomplished this feat when he was a kid, so it was no surprise that he couldn't pull it off. Still, if he could use the Rasengan, it meant a lot of his old jutsu was still available to him. Naruto would have to try the more advanced techniques now. Applying chakra to his feet, Naruto dashed forward, accelerating towards Yuzura with his hand outstretched, the Rasengan aimed towards her. Yuzura jumped out of the way just as Naruto slammed the ball down on the ground before her. The ground exploded beneath him. Naruto smiled as the Rasengan's display of power filled him with pride and remembrance. Knowing that one of his best jutsu was still available to him gave him lots of hope. Impressive technique, Naruto-sama. Yuzura commented, brushing the dust off her kimono. So, this is the technique your father Minato-sama had created. It wasn't completed by him, but I'm glad he left such a great technique behind for me to learn. Naruto grinned. He immediately summoned 2 more clones. But I've developed my own techniques for my father's jutsu. Let me show you. Naruto held his hand out again. The 2 clones immediately began shelling the Rasengan as it began to take form again. Although he could create a regular Rasengan with just 1 clone, he needed 2 clones to improve it. Still, he had developed this technique when he was older. Would his younger self be able to handle the force of the Rasengan when it was enhanced with his wind-natured chakra? You never know until you try. Naruto declared determinedly, echoing Yuzura's words from before. The 2 clones disappeared after the ball was formed. Naruto pumped chakra into his legs and propelled himself towards Yuzura a second time. The fox girl jumped backwards as he brought his hand down. The ball exploded with more power than before, surprising Yuzura with the increased force. Were it not for her quick reflexes and agile movements, she would have lost her balance and taken the aftermath of explosion. The earth rose and cracked beneath the demon container. A huge crater was left to serve as evidence to how much force and power the Rasengan had when it had wind chakra inside it. Naruto was left in the center of the crater. He slowly pulled his hand out of the earth. He stared at his palm, which was now shaking. His entire arm was felt numb, but he felt tiny pangs and stings on certain parts of his arm. The blonde sighed. Looks like I can't use that Rasengan as successively as I thought. Naruto grumbled. He could probably do about 2 more until his arm broke. A child's body did have its limitations. Naruto's eyes narrowed. He had to see if the Rasen Shuriken was available at least. Naruto jumped out of the crater. Yuzura stood on the opposite side of the field, her kodachi pointed at him in a declaration of challenge. The demon container smirked and summoned another pair of shadow clones. He held out his hand as one clone mixed in his wind-natured chakra while the other shaped it. Slowly but surely, the Rasengan started to take on the shape of a giant shuriken. Naruto winced as the Rasengan's spinning blades got bigger. This technique was a double-edged sword since it hurt him whenever he used it. Yuzura watched in awe at Naruto's performance, amazed he was able to use the Rasengan in such a way. The 2 clones disappeared. Naruto held the spinning Rasengan high above his head. He would have to do it quick. He could already feel his energy start to fade. He brought his arm back as he prepared to throw it. Wind release, Rasen Shuriken! Naruto shouted, bringing the Rasengan forward. Naruto's eyes widened as he felt a sharp pain in his arm. He cried out and faltered in mid-throw, causing the Rasengan to hit the ground in front of him. The ground was sliced and then exploded when the Rasengan hit the earth. Naruto was blown backwards into a tree by the sheer force from the aftershock of the attack. Yuzura gasped when she saw her master hit the tree and sink to its base. Naruto-sama! Yuzura cried, rushing over to the fallen teen. Damn it! It's my arm! Naruto cursed, holding his right arm which had a deep cut in the upper forearm. Blood poured out of the wound, causing his arm to throb in pain. Let me see. Yuzura said, gingerly taking his arm and bringing it towards her. A green glow emitted from her hand as she placed it over his wound. You know healing jutsu? Naruto asked, watching as the blood stopped flowing out of his wound. A little. It should numb the area around the wound and keep it from bleeding, but I can't close it up. Yuzura replied. I'll stitch you up properly when we get back to your apartment. Naruto watched dumbly as Yuzura tore off a part of her kimono and wrapped it around his wound. Yuzura? This should keep the wound from bleeding again at least until we get back to your apartment. Yuzura said, smiling at him. You didn't have to do that. Naruto said, blushing at her touching action. Of course, I did. As your servant, it is my duty to make sure my master is taken care of. I'll always be here to heal your wounds. Yuzura smiled. Why don't we head back? Sounds good. Naruto grinned, looking up at the night sky. Yuzura removed the wooden guard on her kodachi and resealed it inside her carrier scroll before returning her weapon to its scabbard. As Naruto got up, his legs suddenly lost their energy, causing him to fall forward. Whoa! Naruto-sama! Naruto felt his face hit something soft. He was surprised at the softness of whatever it was he hit, and even more so when he didn't want to leave its presence. It was nice and warm and he felt himself get a bit excited. The boy sighed contentedly, momentarily forgetting himself and enjoying this feeling. After a few seconds of bliss, Naruto's eyes widened when he realized where his head was nestled. Are you enjoying yourself, Naruto-sama? Naruto tried to spring away from her, but her hands behind his head kept him in place. The boy blushed. His head was nestled in between Yuzura's chest. While her breasts weren't big, she was certainly more developed than most girls that would be considered in her age group, appearance-wise. It was fair to say that she was at least a C-cup. Sorry about this, Yuzura. I don't mind. The fox girl smiled. Naruto groaned. This was to be expected. The Rasen Shuriken technique required a lot of chakra, and even if he used it once it still had the capability of draining all his energy. It certainly didn't help that he had fired off 2 Rasengan prior to using the technique. Let's get back to my apartment. Naruto sighed. I don't suppose you wouldn't mind helping me get there without falling down? It would be my pleasure, Naruto-sama. Thanks. Could you let go of my head now? Naruto asked, sweat dropping as Yuzura released him. He placed his uninjured arm around her shoulders. Slowly, the two made their way back to his apartment. Chapter 5. Issues with Teamwork and Memory. Yow! Ow! Ow! Naruto bit his lip as Yuzura stitched his wound. The girl giggled at his distressed state. She didn't know that her master was uncomfortable around needles. I'm almost done. Yuzura giggled as she was finishing her last few stitches. Good. I hate stitches. Naruto grumbled. Yuzura giggled again, making Naruto glare at her. What's so funny to you? It's just... Naruto-sama can act like such a child at times. Yuzura laughed lightly as she finished with his stitches. Hey! In case you haven't noticed, I am a kid again, anyway. Naruto said, giving Yuzura a mock glare. Naruto glanced at the closed wound. Thanks. I'm happy I could help. Yuzura smiled. Leaning forward a bit, she flicked Naruto's forehead. What was that for? Naruto asked, giving her a playful look. What were you thinking when you used a technique like that? Yuzura chided playfully, her fox ears twitching a bit. It's stupid to use a technique that you know could hurt you. It's a miracle that your chakra circulatory system wasn't damaged at all. Yes, I'm so lucky. Let's all laugh at the guy who's afraid of needles and stitches and used a technique that could cut off his arm. Naruto smirked, making Yuzura break out into another fit of giggles. It was to see how many of my old techniques were still available to me. A child's body is more limited than a young adult's, you know. I suppose you won't be using that technique again then, will you? Unfortunately, no. Naruto sighed. I can probably use other Rasengan techniques, but I can't use my wind chakra without getting hurt. I can probably use the regular Rasengan with wind chakra once or twice, but using the Rasen Shuriken is out of the question. Not only would it drain all my energy, but I'd probably break or sever my arm doing so. I got lucky. Don't make a mistake so early on. They'll greatly influence what happens in the future. The Inari Kitsune warned him, fixing her master with a serious gaze. I know. Naruto nodded, knowing that she wasn't just referring to his arm. If this was how using the Rasen Shuriken affected his body as a kid, he wouldn't be able to use it for a few years. Not only that, but using Senjutsu and going into Sage mode was also out of the question. Since he was back to being a kid and hadn't gone through Sage training yet, Naruto knew he couldn't balance his physical and spiritual energy with natural energy. Even if he could, he would still need the special toad oil found only at Mount Mayaboku that allowed natural energy to enter his body. He hadn't even made a summoning contract with the toads yet. Plus, he doubted he could achieve Sage mode as a kid anyway. If he could, he'd be able to fire off Rasen Shurikens like no tomorrow without any fear of getting hurt. Putting techniques that were currently unavailable to him aside, Naruto thought about the people he could trust with his memories. He had many prospects before, but he had narrowed down the candidates since Uzura warned him about who he shared his memories with. He could count the number of candidates with one hand now. Speaking of which, he had already met with one of them. Uzura, I may need your help tomorrow. Naruto said solemnly, looking into her violet eyes. Ah, do you want to share your memories with someone? The girl asked, her fox ears twitching and ready to listen to his words. Yes. I've thought long and hard about who can really help us. Naruto replied. I decided who I want to share my memories with. The people he had in mind numbered no more than 5. Uzura could see why he picked the people he did, but some of them could prove to be a little bit of a gamble. I see. You're absolutely sure? I can't erase their memories if you change your mind. Uzura warned. I know. I'm confident in the people I've chosen. They're people who I know I can trust with my life and help me change things. They trusted me in my past life, so why should now be any different? Naruto reasoned. The boy sighed and climbed into bed. Uzura took the futon again. Naruto turned out the lamp. Will you be requiring a breakfast tomorrow, Naruto-sama? I'd like that, if you wouldn't mind making me one. Naruto smiled through the darkness. There was no way in hell he was skipping out on another delicious home-cooked meal for some test. There was no reason to starve himself since he already knew what the test was. Of course not. Came Uzura's cheerful reply. Thanks. By the way. Yes? You're a really good sparring partner. Naruto grinned. Would you mind fighting me again sometime? If that is what Naruto-sama wishes, I'd be happy to. Uzura smiled. Maybe I could teach you how to use a sword as well. Ha! Maybe you could. Naruto chuckled as he closed his eyes. That was actually a pretty appealing prospect when he thought about it. Good night, Uzura. Sweet dreams, Naruto-sama. Naruto smiled. While he was looking forward to some much-needed rest, there was one more thing he had to do before going to bed. There's one more person I have to talk to. He opened his eyes. Naruto smiled as he looked around the dark, metal hallway with pipes above. Ankle deep in water, he stared up at the giant cage in front of him. Hey Furball, you awake? Naruto called out. 2 giant red eyes looked at him through the cage. The eyes that belonged to the nine-tailed demon fox, the Kyuubi no Yuko. So, do you remember anything? Naruto asked, raising an eyebrow. A rumbling chuckle came from the demon sealed inside the cage. You really effed up, didn't you, Kit? Naruto smirked. He chuckled lightly to himself. I suppose we did. We? Naruto looked up at the demon fox, catching his annoyed tone. The fox was glaring down at his host. His good humor had vanished. Naruto grimaced. His optimistic attitude had been crushed by the demon in less than 2 seconds. I had nothing to do with that little plan of yours. The plan that worked so well, might I add. The Kyuubi growled, chuckling a bit near the end. The Jinchuriki held his ground, glaring back at the demon inside him. And here he thought that after having his soul eaten by the 10-tailed beast and having his body become nothing more than a mere puppet for Madara to use would have made the fox a little bit more cooperative. The demon's tone and attitude had Naruto more than a little irked. Not to mention his little jab had hurt him more than he'd admit. We have to work together, Naruto said, putting a leash on his anger towards the fox and try to make peace instead. Do we now? I need your help, Naruto said solemnly. You need my help? There's a surprise. The Kyuubi laughed sarcastically. When haven't you needed my help? You know what's coming. You know what will happen if we don't do anything, Naruto said, clenching his teeth as he tried to contain his anger. Please. For both our sakes, we need to work together this time. How about I see you grovel a bit then? Kyuubi purred, his laughter echoing in Naruto's ears. Go on, mortal. Get on your knees and beg me to help you. Cut the crap, Naruto screamed, letting his anger loose and slamming his fists against the bars of the Kyuubi's cell. He ignored the demon's threatening growl and glared up at the demon, not even bothering to hide his furious expression. We both died last time. You need me just as much as I need you. Don't flatter yourself. The Kyuubi scoffed. I have never needed you. Were it not for this seal and my forced imprisonment, there would have been a lot less trouble for the both of us. In some ways, I envy Sanbai for the few years he went without a host, even if all he did was sleep under a rock at the bottom of the ocean. That's actually another thing I wanted to talk to you about, Naruto said, his mentioning of the three-tailed demon beast reminding him another point he had to bring up. I know what you're thinking, the Kyuubi said, chuckling to himself. You want to get in touch with the other demon containers, don't you? I know some of them are still out there, Naruto said, thinking of the containers he had met in his old life. Gaara, Utakata, and there's bound to be more still alive. Individually we couldn't stop the Akatsuki, but together we might be able to. If all the demon containers and their bijus fought together, then we'd definitely have enough strength to fight the Akatsuki. If I got to them before they did, then maybe. You're delusional, Kit, the Kyuubi interrupted, cutting the boy off. Like your other plan, you have put no thought into this new one. How will you locate or contact the other demon containers? The Ichibi container is the only one you knew on a personal level, and you won't meet the Hachibi or Rokubi containers for another few years. You do not know the location of the other containers. Even if you had some way to contact them, would they believe your story of their future deaths? If I give them my memories, they would, Naruto said, desperately trying to get the Kyuubi to sympathize with him. The others will help me. No one will have to die this time around. Okay, let's say they help you. But if the Akatsuki defeated them in the past, what's stopping them from defeating and capturing again? Kyuubi asked, smirking down at his host. They couldn't hold their own against the Akatsuki before. Hell, what makes you think that you can defeat Madara if he killed you last time? It will be different, Naruto seethed. And I say again, if the containers are all together, we stand a better chance of surviving. The Akatsuki only got them last time because the others were alone. You're fighting for a lost cause, the Kyuubi chuckled. Naruto glared at the demon. No matter what you do, things will be the same. You will die, just like before. Your friends will die, just like before. You didn't have the strength then, so what makes you think that you have the power to change things now? Just because you know about the possible future doesn't mean you can change it. I refuse to believe that, Naruto as he shook his head and glared back at the demon. I'm not just going to sit around and do nothing about it. I've already made changes, small ones, but those differences are proof that things can be changed. You can't change the future. You're just a weak, inferior moral soul incapable of protecting those around you. The Kyuubi snickered. Why you? Naruto seethed, that remark reminding him again of his failure. And also, don't group me together with you. The only relationship we have is that we both share the same body. However, we can rectify that. What? You know how to break the seal, don't you? You remember how to release me. The Kyuubi gave the blonde a twisted smile. No harm will come to you if you release me. Your body will be yours and I will regain my old one. It would be best for both of us. You learned the technique in your old life. I'll even do you a favor if you do. Oh? And what could you possibly do for me? Naruto glowered. Release me, then I'll find Madara and take him out for you. The QB purred. Just think, all your problems will automatically disappear when I kill that insect. What do you say? Naruto just stared at the demon. The QB smirked, thinking he had won the human over. The fox's smugness disappeared when he noticed the corners of his host's mouth twitch. You're joking. Naruto smirked at the fox. To the demon's surprise and anger, the boy started to laugh. What's so funny? The beast asked with a dangerous edge to his tone. Look at you, acting all high and mighty. Your arrogance is sickening. Naruto laughed. You're a freaking joke. What was that? It's just funny. You go and tell me I can't change things, but then you turn around and say you'll kill Madara for me, like it's some common chore. Naruto said, glaring up at the demon with a smirk on his lips. I just remembered, that plan of mine. You were included in it, weren't you? B and I had released you and Hachibi. We were going to fight Madara together. We thought the two-tailed beasts would be able to take him on easy. You had always wanted to return to the real world and get revenge on the one who had used you, but the minute you got out, you ran. You ran the minute you saw Madara. Impudent brat. Demons do not run. QB snarled. Oh, but you did. You came back, but only after B had been killed and the Hachibi's soul had been absorbed. Naruto said, shaking his head. What was it? Didn't want to fight together with a fellow demon? Wanted to get back at my dad for sealing you inside me by abandoning us during the battle? Did you just hate the thought of taking orders from a lowly human? Or are you afraid of Madara taking over your mind and using you as his tool again? Tell me, which was it? You. How dare you talk to me like this? QB roared. The bars on the cage shook, but Naruto couldn't have cared less. He couldn't break through the seal. It was the demon's turn to be on the receiving end. I would have crushed that bug. And I do not take orders from inferior humans. You are so full of shit. Naruto spat venomously, ignoring the demon's roars. You abandoned us, then came back and got your mind raped for a second time. Hachibi was able to resist the Sharingan's control, but you didn't last more than 5 seconds. You literally just handed your soul over to him. Naruto stared deep into the harsh red eyes of the demon that was inside of him. For the first time in his life, he wasn't afraid to look into those bloody red orbs. You sounded pretty casual when you said you'd kill Madara for me. Naruto said. Tell me though, what's to stop him from taking over your mind and using you as a tool just like before? I would kill him before he got the chance. Sure, you would. Naruto said, his voice dripping with sarcasm. You go and tell me I can't change things. You tell me that I'm weak. So then if you're so confident things will be the same for me, what makes you think things will be different for you? You insolent little. I'll use your own words. What makes you think you have the strength to change things now when you couldn't back then? Naruto smirked. Face it. This cage is where you're safest. If I let you out, what's to stop Madara from making you his puppet again? Brat! The QB hissed. Naruto sighed. He suddenly felt his anger and disgust disappear. He hadn't talked about his past life that much, and bringing up and remembering so many memories was actually making him tired. Naruto shook his head and looked up at the demon tiredly. He just remembered, he had wanted the demon to help him. QB, you need to throw away that arrogance and pride and face facts. We need to help each other out if we want to increase our chances of survival this time around. Despite what I say, I'm willing to work together. And right now, I think it's your only option. Naruto said, turning away from his demon. I'm not letting you go this time. Until you decide to help me out, you're staying inside that cage and with me. Don't turn your back on me, human. The QB roared again. You're trying to order me around? You're powerless without me. And now you deny me my freedom? I promise, the moment I get out of this cage and kill Madara, I'll be coming for you. You won't be getting out anytime soon. Naruto said, listening to the demon smash his claws against the cage in a vain attempt to get at his host. He knew as long as the seal was there, the Kyuubi had no way of hurting him. If I die, you'll die with me. If you want to survive, you're going to have fight together with me whether you like it or not. Naruto sighed. He had really hoped that the demon would help him. He had hoped that their knowledge of the past would help him forge a bond with the fox. He had been wrong. Naruto knew that he would need the demon's power to fight against Madara, but there was no way he would get any help now. Naruto turned back towards the raging demon fox. The demon roared furiously at him. Human! You'll fail. Everyone close to you will die, just like before. You are weak. You can't do anything. And when you come crawling back to me, begging for my help, I'll just laugh. You will die. If that's what you want to believe, then go ahead. Naruto murmured. But just remember, we'll either fight together, or die together. In the end, it's your choice. Naruto closed his eyes, the Kyuubi's furious roar echoing in his ears. When he reopened his eyes, he found himself staring up at the ceiling of his apartment. The sound of Yuzura's soft breathing replaced the sound of the Kyuubi's angry cries. Naruto closed his eyes again. You won't be the one threatening me this time, Kyuubi. I'll patiently wait for the day we can truly understand each other and fight together. Until that day comes, you'll have to be my prisoner. I can't let Madara get to you this time. Right now, the safest place for you is the cage within me. I hope you change your ways before the day comes for when we fight Madara again. If you don't, then it's very possible both of us will lose our lives for a second time. With those final thoughts, Naruto fell asleep. It was 10 minutes until 7 when Naruto finally arrived at training ground number 1. Sakura and Sasuke had arrived at 5 o'clock sharp, and both looked tired and hungry. Naruto chuckled when he heard growls coming from their stomachs. If only they could have had those extra hours of sleep and a little bit of the delicious breakfast he had gotten. It wasn't their fault. His teammates hadn't yet become aware of Kakashi's tendency to arrive late to pretty much anything. The Jinchuriki sighed as he thought about the previous night and about his chat with the Kyuubi. The demon probably hated him even more than he did before. Even though he wanted to find some way to get the demon on his side, there was no way he'd be able to do that anytime soon. The fox did bring up another pressing issue though. Other than Gaara, who would show up during the Chunin exams, he had no way to contact or locate the other demon containers. He hadn't even met all of them. Utakata and the Sanbai were somewhere in Kirigakure, and he knew getting a hold of B was next to impossible when he was in Kumogakure. Naruto also remembered that B had once mentioned offhand that the two-tailed demon container had also been in Kumo with him. The 2, 4, 5, and 7-tailed demon containers were the ones he had never actually met face to face. How was he supposed to find them? Naruto shook his head and grinned at his friends. Thinking about it wouldn't change anything. He would have plenty of time to think how to get a hold of the other containers later. Right now, he had to focus on his friends and the bell test that was soon to come. Naruto! Where have you been? Sakura demanded, noticing the boy as he made his way towards them. Sorry. I woke up late. Naruto smiled. But it's nice to know you were eagerly waiting for me here. I idiot. It's only because we'd fail if you didn't show up. Sakura waved him off, even if her cheeks were a bit pink. Naruto raised his eyebrows when he noticed something about her appearance had changed, and he was mildly surprised that he hadn't noticed and pointed it out earlier. You cut your hair. Naruto stated, noticing her hairstyle was back to the way he remembered. Why yeah. We did talk about it yesterday, and I was kinda curious about how I'd look if my hair was shorter so. Sakura trailed off, playing with her shortened locks. Maybe I cut it too short? Nope. It looks great. Really suits you. Naruto grinned, making Sakura blush. Well, thanks. Sakura smiled, happy at receiving a compliment. She cast a side glance over at Sasuke, who was leaning against one of the 3 posts in the center of the field trying to look cool. I wonder if Sasuke-kun likes it. I don't know, let's ask him. Naruto said. Yo, Sasuke team. Did you notice Sakura's new hairstyle? Ha? The boy looked up at them in a daze, still a bit groggy from his lack of sleep. He blinked a few times then shrugged. Yeah, it suits her. This was the first compliment the Uchiha had ever given to a girl. This causal, blunt answer was enough to make Sakura sigh, swoon, and fall completely in love with her new hairstyle. Naruto smiled, glad his teammates were getting along and that Sasuke was showing some emotion. He stepped over to where the boy was. "You look like shit." Naruto snickered. Sasuke glared at him. "Shut up. I got up way too early and had nothing to eat." "Sue me." The boy bit back, not in any mood to deal with his teammates' snarky attitude. His hunger was also putting him in a much fouler mood than usual. "What took you?" "Sensei said 5 o'clock and it's almost 7. Yeah, well, I had to eat breakfast first." Naruto shrugged. "You ate breakfast?" "But Sensei told us not to," Sakura pointed out, joining the conversation. Naruto gave another shrug. "I thought he was joking." His two teammates stared at him with blank looks on their faces. "What? I'm not skipping out on breakfast just because he told me to. Sensei seemed like a pretty laid-back guy, so I figured he wouldn't mind," Naruto said defensively. They would have made the same choice if they had the chance to taste his foxy companion's food. "Besides, it's not me you should shout at for being late. Do you see our sensei anywhere?" "Ugh. I know." Sakura huffed, crossing her arms angrily. "He's been almost 2 hours late." He gave the impression that he was a bit careless, but this is ridiculous. Sasuke grumbled. Naruto chuckled. Poor bastards. Both of his teammates groaned when their stomachs rumbled again. "Good thing he came prepared. You know, I have some instant ramen with me." Naruto grinned, taking out a carrier scroll. He immediately summoned 2 cups of the good stuff from the scroll. "I always carry some with me when I get hungry. I can give them to you guys if you want. Ramen for breakfast." Sakura looked at him disbelievingly. Who had ramen for breakfast? Her expression turned longing when another growl came from her stomach. Sasuke was also looking at the cups with desire in his eyes. Sasuke can use a fire jutsu or something to cook them. "So, want some?" Naruto asked. His two teammates looked at each other, trying to decide whether to give in to their hunger or listen to their sensei's warning. Naruto rolled his eyes. "You guys need energy if we're going to pass this test. Plus, you've been waiting for 2 hours. Who's to say we won't be waiting around for another 2? They couldn't resist. Sasuke performed a quick fire jutsu to heat up the ramen and their meals were finished in a few minutes. Both his teammates sighed in contentment and patted their stomachs, not quite full, but satisfied with the quick meal and energy it had given them. "Thanks, Naruto." Sakura smiled. Sasuke nodded in thanks, but still looked a bit ticked off. Now if only our sensei would show up. Sasuke grumbled. As if on cue, Kakashi appeared in a puff of smoke. Team 7 glared at their sensei, who seemed to ignore them in favor of reading a small orange book he held in his hand. "Where have you been, sensei?" Sakura demanded, clearly expressing her irritation at his extreme lateness. "Oh, well you see," Kakashi began. "When I woke up this morning, I tried. Save it." Sakura sighed, already seeing through the man's bullshit. "I don't know why I even bothered asking." Kakashi's eye crinkled as he smiled beneath his mask. "Well, you all seem to have more energy than I expected. Just eager to start the test, sensei." Naruto beamed at him. You don't say." Kakashi mused, raising an eyebrow at the blonde. "What is the test exactly?" Sasuke asked. "Well," Kakashi began. "You'll all be trying to get these bells from me." The copynin pointed to 2 small, silver bells attached to his belt. He also pulled out a small alarm clock. "All of you have until this clock hits noon to get the bells from me. If you each manage to grab one, then you pass the test. But sensei, there are only 2 bells." Sakura pointed out. "Then I guess only 2 of you can pass, while the other." Kakashi paused. "Has their lunch confiscated and has to go hungry." He expected more of a reaction from people who had no breakfast and had woken up so early, but all his students seemed to take the threat in stride. Kakashi was surprised by their lack of interest and worry. "So, we have to try and grab a bell for ourselves then, that's it?" Sasuke asked. "In a nutshell." Kakashi nodded, though Sasuke felt that there was more to the test than he mentioned. But failure rate is pretty high. Naruto smirked. This time he wouldn't end up being tied to the post. But if he was going to trick his sensei and get his teammates to work together to pass, he'd have to put on a bit of a show. Everybody, the test begins when I say go. Kakashi said, watching his students tense and prepare themselves. Ready, set, dash. Mimicking his action in the past, Naruto immediately launched a kick at Kakashi's face. The Jonin quickly blocked his attack, twisted his arm behind his back and held the boy in place. Sasuke and Sakura just stared in awe at the display. I didn't say go yet. Kakashi said simply, letting go of the exuberant youth. Naruto flashed him a quick grin and stepped back in place between his friends. Wow! Sakura whispered in awe. He's fast. I didn't even see him move. Sasuke muttered under his breath. That hasty attitude could cost you your life one day, Naruto. Kakashi scolded him. The boy just stared back at him. The Jonin smiled under his mask. But it's good to know that you won't be holding back on me. The test will begin in. Go! Just as Sasuke was about to go hide in the trees and Sakura was about to jump into the bushes, Naruto quickly grabbed their wrists and ran into the forest with his teammates in tow. Kakashi watched them run away with an eyebrow raised in mild wonder and curiosity. Now I wonder what that was about. Kakashi wondered. He shrugged and pulled out his favorite orange book. Meanwhile in the forest, Sasuke and Sakura had finally gotten Naruto to let go of them and proceeded to berate him for dragging them away from the battleground. Dobe, what the hell was that for? Sasuke demanded. We need to get those bells. I realized that, but you guys were going to split up so I had to keep us together somehow. Naruto argued, glaring at the Uchiha. Both his teammates gave him questioning looks. We'll never get those bells going at him individually. He's too fast. We have to act like a team would and start working together. Wait, you mean that kick earlier was just to see how fast he was? Sakura asked, mildly impressed by the blonde's tactics. Yep. Naruto smiled. Though this time it was more to show his teammates how fast their sensei was and to give them a reason to work together. The first time around it had just been him being impatient. So was he actually lying when he said it was tactics? Well, we've established the fact that he's too fast to be caught easily, so did you already have a plan in mind? Sasuke asked, looking at Naruto expectantly. Had. I didn't think that far ahead. Naruto smiled sheepishly. He turned towards Sakura. Which is why I was hoping you'd come up with a plan for us. Me? Sakura asked. Sakura, when it comes to academics and knowledge in the field, you probably know more than me and Sasuke combined. Naruto said seriously. It should be no problem for you to come up with some way to get the bells. I guess I could give it a shot. Sakura said uneasily. This would be her first real test, and a chance to impress Sasuke. That, and she couldn't disappoint Naruto when he was putting his faith in her. One other thing. Naruto added, catching both of his teammates' attention. This might help with your strategy. Naruto quickly performed his favorite hand seal and summoned a shadow clone. Sakura hit him over the head. Naruto sighed. He had almost thought he could spend his new life without having Sakura hit him. Guess the change was too much to hope for. You moron. How's a Bunshin clone going to help us? He'll see right through the illusion. Sakura berated him for his stupid thinking. It's not an illusion. Naruto pointed out, pinching his clone's cheek. This is a shadow clone. A solid copy of me. This is the technique I learned that made Iruka-sensei pass me. Impressive. Sasuke nodded his approval. It's certainly a useful technique. Yeah. This is perfect. Sakura smiled, a plan already forming in her head. Can the clones transform too? Yes. Good. Then here's what we'll do. 20 minutes later, 7 Narutos rushed out of the bushes and surrounded Kakashi. The copy nin arched an eyebrow at the tactic. He couldn't see Sasuke or Sakura, but he had a feeling that they were out there somewhere. He put his smut book away for later. Maybe he'd take things a little more seriously. 6 of the Narutos came at him. Kakashi quickly blocked or dodged all of the attacks. He smirked to himself. Naruto had certainly learned a useful jutsu, but it would take more than a few extra clones to take the bells from him. They were fast, and didn't let up in their attacks, but the copy nin had more than enough speed to stop their attacks. Kakashi kept his eye on the bells and the last Naruto who was hanging out of the brawl. If he was thinking of tiring him out and grabbing the bells when he was fatigued, the boy had a long way to go. The real Naruto standing outside of the fight smirked to himself. Sakura and Sasuke should be finalizing their plan right about now. Still, he had a little bit of time to kill before they had things ready. This was good. After all, there was one other plan Naruto had that his teammates didn't know about. A plan no one knew about, yet. Now's the perfect time. You're pretty good, sensei. Naruto commented, summoning up 2 more clones to join the fray when Kakashi took out 2 of the fighting ones. You won't take the bells from me if your plan is to tire me out. Kakashi replied easily, striking one of the clones in the neck and dispelling it. That's not the plan. I'm just waiting for my friends to show up and give me hand. Naruto smiled. Until then, I felt like we could talk about a few things. Oh, Naruto nodded, his smile straightening out. He took a deep breath. This is it, no turning back. I was just thinking that the yondaime really taught you well, sensei. Kakashi faltered. He recovered just in time to block a kick from one of the clones. He shot a look at the real Naruto. What did you say? Must have been hard, losing Obito, Rin, and then your sensei. Naruto replied, fixing Kakashi with a hard look. The yondaime's star pupil, what an honor it must have been. The copy nin's eyes widened. He quickly swung his leg around, catching 3 Narutos in his sweep and dispelling them in an instant. He shot Naruto a look of shock and disbelief. How do you? It must have been nice having yondaime as your sensei. To have been taught by such a great man and to know him on a personal level must have been even better. As a student, you must have really respected him as a sensei. He sacrificed himself to seal the Kyuubi inside a baby boy, you know? Naruto continued, his expression turning cold. Tell me, why didn't his student watch over that boy when no one else would? Surely someone as close to the yondaime as you would have known that baby boy was his teacher's son. Kakashi heard the bells jingle as one of the clones touched them. He quickly brought his foot down on the copy's head, swinging his fist backwards to keep another from making a grab for the silver orbs. Naruto quickly summoned 5 more clones to join the others. The copy nin started to sweat, but not because he was getting tired. He kept his visible eye on the real Naruto, who was staring at him with an expressionless face. You'd think that a student who admired the yondaime as much as you would have done everything he could to make sure that his sacrifice wasn't wasted and that the boy was protected. Naruto went on, looking off to the distance. He paused for a few moments. He redirected his gaze back to Kakashi. I wonder, what was the yondaime's best pupil thinking when he saw it fit to abandon his sensei's only son? Kakashi grunted as he felt a clone's kick connect with his stomach. He quickly grabbed the clone's foot and swung it into another clone trying to jump on his back. Kakashi flipped backwards, grabbing 2 clones' heads and slamming their faces into the ground. All 4 immediately disappeared, only to have 4 more take their place. It seemed like the clones were getting harder to dodge and block. The copy nin shot another look at Naruto. How does he know these things? Kakashi thought frantically. Really, I wonder how much easier the boy's youth would have been if he only had someone who had looked after him. Naruto sighed, shaking his head. He arched an eyebrow at his sensei. Do you think things would have been different if the yondaime student had looked after the boy, sensei? The Jonin's eyes widened as a clone caught him in the jaw. The clones just seemed to be getting faster. Naruto's words swarmed and echoed in his mind. The boy was throwing him off his game. His words were distracting him and messing with his head. It's funny how the student never even thought to check up on the boy to see how he was doing. Not once was the little boy even aware that his father even had a student. Hell, for the longest time, the boy was completely unaware he even had a father. Naruto said. He stared at Kakashi questioningly. I wonder if the student had visited, if he would have told the boy about the wonderful things his father did when he was alive. Or would you have even told the boy who his father had been? Kakashi's eyes widened as a fist smashed into the back of his head. I wonder how many beatings the boy would have avoided if the student had been there to protect him. Would he have stopped the villagers from hurting him? A foot made contact with the copy nin's stomach again. I wonder how happy the boy would have been if someone had been there to shield him from all the harsh glares the village residents always gave him. A fist made contact with his face. Kakashi grunted and connected his fist with the clone's stomach. I wonder if the student hated the boy. Did he hold the child responsible for his sensei's death? Kakashi quickly lifted up his headband to reveal his Sharingan eye. He narrowly dodged a clone's fist. Another fist struck his shoulder. I wonder if that student never thought that the boy, his sensei's son, would become his student years into the future. Kakashi's barely managed to block a clone's kick. I wonder if the Yandame's son ever got a chance to ask the student these questions. A fist smashed into the side of Kakashi's face. I wonder, sensei. I really do wonder. Kakashi's eyes narrowed as he unleashed a flurry of punches in all directions. All the clones disappeared in a puff of smoke. Kakashi was left in the center of the field, panting and sweating. He quickly covered up his Sharingan. He slowly raised his head to look at the boy who was staring back at him with a sad expression. And Naruto? Kakashi stammered. His mind was in a state of chaos. I am Minato and Kushina's son, Naruto Uzumaki. Though, you already know that, don't you, sensei? I know you. Kakashi rubbed his temples. His brain was working and trying to find an explanation for how Naruto knew all these things. Unfortunately, he couldn't think of any reason that made sense. He had never even come into contact with the boy until yesterday. His eyes widened when he noticed 5 new clones and the real Naruto surround him. He looked up at his student, who now wore a smile on his face. Kakashi blinked in confusion. Naruto took a deep breath. Now! Suddenly, 12 more Narutos jumped out of the forest and all rushed towards Kakashi. The copy ninja unleashed a barrage of kicks and punches in all directions as the clones jumped him. In the corner of his eye, he noticed Sasuke and Sakura come out of the brush wielding shuriken and kunai in their hands. Go! Sakura shouted. She and Sasuke hurled their projectiles towards him. Kakashi quickly smashed his elbow into the last clone's face, dispelling it immediately with the force of the blow. He immediately grabbed the real Naruto and sidestepped to avoid the oncoming projectiles. To his surprise, all the kunai and shuriken transformed and were replaced with a dozen Narutos that flew past him. The one closest to his side reached out as it flew by. In his frazzled state, Kakashi could only watch as the clone yanked the bells from his belt and sailed past him with a triumphant smirk. Kakashi let go of the real Naruto as all the clones except the one carrying the bells disappeared in a puff of smoke. The real Naruto and the clone quickly ran over to Sasuke and Sakura, all of them wearing expressions of mirth on their faces. The clone dropped the bells into Sakura's hands and disappeared. Team 7 grinned at each other, celebrating their victory. Kakashi's eye creased. Well, how about that? Sakura stared at the 2 bells in her hands for a moment. She quickly threw the bells to the ground and crossed her arms, her 2 teammates mimicking her action. We're a team. If one of us has to go hungry, then we all go hungry. Sakura smiled, her teammates nodding in agreement. Kakashi sighed. He put aside his troubling thoughts so he could give the verdict. He managed a small smile for his students. You all pass. Kakashi announced. Yes. Sakura cheered, jumping up and down in joy. My plan worked. It really worked. What are you talking about? Of course, it worked. Naruto grinned, whooping excitedly. It was genius. It worked and we passed. That's all that matters. Sasuke said, smiling coolly. But it was a good plan. Yep. Congratulations. Kakashi said, walking over to his team. His eye crinkled again for another smile. At least you know how to work as a team. Welcome to the life of a ninja, kids. So, what happens now, sensei? Sakura asked curiously, her smile not leaving her face. We go on missions now. Kakashi answered, his eyes moving over to Naruto, who was grinning widely at his team. Some are jobs inside the village while others will take us outside the village. Many missions could turn out to be dangerous, but I'm sure it's nothing you 3 won't be able to handle. That's great and all, but instead of thinking about that, how about we all celebrate? Naruto suggested, smiling at his teammates. Let's go to Ichiraku's and have a celebratory ramen feast. Dobe, is there anything else you eat besides ramen? Sasuke asked, smirking at the boy. Not if I can help it. Naruto replied with a grin. Let's go. Sakura said, smiling happily. The girl left the training ground, skipping towards the exit. Sasuke followed close behind with Naruto tailing after them. He would have caught up with them quicker had someone not held him back. Naruto. The boy halted when he felt a hand on his shoulder. Naruto sighed, losing his smile as he turned around to face his sensei. He looked up at his teacher, who stared down at him with eyes full of questions. Naruto smiled softly at his sensei, whose expression was sad and desperate. Though he was usually calm and collected, Kakashi couldn't contain himself this time. He wanted to ask all the questions he had in one breath. How did you know about my sensei? How did you know about my teammates? How did you know, Kakashi-sensei? Naruto interrupted him, holding up his hand. Not now, but... 6. Naruto interrupted him again, silencing the man. 6 o'clock this evening, right here. I need time to think about how I should explain everything to you. Don't be late, because I'm not going to wait around for you. Got it? Yes. Kakashi nodded. He realized that he needed time to think too. Right. Naruto grinned at his teacher. See you later then. Kakashi watched as the boy ran away to join his teammates at Ichiraku's for their celebration. The copy nin groaned as he rubbed his forehead. His head hurt from all the questions he was dying to ask. Unfortunately, he'd have to be patient if he wanted to talk with Naruto at all today. Kakashi sighed as he heard his alarm clock rang for noon. Kakashi sighed again. He had 6 hours to kill. What could he do until then? I wonder if any good bars are open at this time. Kakashi thought aloud to himself. That's it for this reading. Hit like and subscribe for a free ticket pass going to the different worlds of anime fanfiction. Looking forward to having you on board again.